has been to portray Shiite militia members supporting the Assad government as Iranians, even though large numbers are from Iraq, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. It may be that militia members were killed in the strike. The Israeli strikes were so big and caused such an explosion that they actually registered as an earthquake of 2.6 magnitude in Hama. Israel has yet to officially comment on the attack, which is not unusual. Syrian state media accused U.S. and British missiles of being fired during the salvo from Jordan. That appears not to have been the case, however. The Israeli strike may be less about targeting anything in particular than about testing their ability to keep attacking Syria. After the U.S.-led attack on April 13th, there was growing expectation that Russia would limit everyone's ability to strike Syria, including Israel's. Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman said over the weekend that freedom of action in attacking Syria was vital to Israel and that it would be maintained at any cost. This attack may amount to Israel attacking just to see what reaction, if any, they get from Russia. Russia is in the process of delivering S-300 missiles to Syria, which will greatly enhance their air defense capabilities. In addition to testing reaction, Israel may be also hitting a site they believe will be harder to hit when the S-300s arrive. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports former Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore filed a lawsuit on Monday claiming the women who accused him of sexual assault sought to defame him as part of a political conspiracy. The suit, jointly filed with his wife Kayla Moore, names 3 women who made accusations against Moore, including Lee Korfman, Beverly Young Nelson, and Tina Johnson as defendants, as well as 2 other people. The lawsuit claims Korfman, Nelson, and Johnson were the only women to accuse Moore of improper conduct and did so with the intent of derailing his Senate campaign. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. Reuters reports Arizona school teachers vowed to continue their walkout over salaries and school funding on Tuesday as lawmakers considered a proposal advanced by the governor and legislative leaders for ending the latest in a string of statewide protests by U.S. educators. Arizona's strike has kept the vast majority of its 1.1 million school children out of classrooms since teachers walked off the job last Thursday. It follows similar walkouts by teachers in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Oklahoma that marked the first statewide U.S. teacher work stoppages since the 1990s. Thousands of red-clad Arizona teachers flocked to the state capitol in Phoenix for a third day on Monday to press the legislature for greater education spending as lawmakers opened talks on various state budget proposals. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey last week announced a deal with legislative leaders to raise teachers' pay by 20% by 2020, along with $371 million in new funding over the next 5 years for improvement in school infrastructure, new school buses, and upgrades to technology and curriculum. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Following the news this week that recording artist and industry magnate Bob Dylan would be laying off 2,000 workers from his Muscatine, Iowa songwriting factory in an effort to streamline his music-making operations, The Onion spoke with veteran factory worker Travis Felton, who received a pink slip earlier today.
I've been working on the lyric assembly line for 25 years now. Punch in each and every morning, make sure the words are complex and poetic. And yesterday, the foreman calls me into his office to tell me that the company is reducing headcount. They're giving the whole rhyming section the boot. What Mr. Dillon and the other suits don't understand is that here in Muscatine, songwriting is all we have. And we've been doing the best damn Dylan songs in the world for over 50 years, and now they're trying to take that away from us. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Well, I guess I could see if they're hiring over at the Tom Petty factory in Hurstville. Lord knows I hoped it'd never come to that.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Right here, the toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We also have Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio here tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
You can also call us from the on-air call-in line room on Discord at discord.lrn.fm. Coming up here tonight, a judge has ruled that bars are allowed to throw out Trump supporters. So discrimination against a political viewpoint, apparently it's okay.
So it's all right for me, not that I would, to not bake a cake for some gay dudes.
Well, now let's get into that coming up here in moments. That's on the way. Also, Darryl, you're going to tell us about the poor Congress people in the nation's capital, D.C. They're having a tough time, and we'll explain what that's all about. Plus, again, your calls, your thoughts about what you want. But yesterday, in the headlines that we didn't get to talk about just because, was apparently the anarchists, what the media are calling anarchists, were in Paris doing a bunch of destruction, smashing windows, looting a McDonald's, apparently hurling bricks and other violent, destructive, looks like spray paint, plenty of spray paint here on private property. And just absolute destruction, done by masked people wearing hoods and goggles. And
I wonder how many of those were cops.
Well, good question. There are quite a few people in
at least
these
one
photographs.
or two. At least one instigator.
Frequently, there are undercover agents, is what you're referring to, agents provocateur. But in some cases, those agents just serve as the excuse for people to go ahead and riot. Like, they might start a riot, but the rest of them aren't all cops, right? Like, not everybody who's kicking in the storefront windows at McDonald's or whatever is a police officer. Maybe they were involved at some level in instigating this.
Right, because, the way herds and mobs wind up, sort of operating is one jackass does something and then everybody else follows suit.
Correct. And sometimes that jackass is an undercover police officer. Right. With the intention of giving the police, who are also there and, clad in black and armor and shields and that whole thing.
Dressed like they're there for a riot.
And there was one, that they get their adrenaline pumping when these things happen, and they love an excuse to attack people and smash some heads. And if some officer has successfully provoked the crowd into that sort of response, again, it's not to say those individuals aren't guilty or those individuals aren't responsible for their actions, but you are right. This is sort of the crowd behavior.
The fact that it is a lot of times brought out by someone who is supposed to be protecting us,
correct.
That is where that's where the craziness happens.
But you have to be able to prove that claim. I mean, we know it's happened in certain circumstances, but we can't say it happens every time.
Right. And before somebody calls in to say that, all of those cops are just there and they don't want to actually wind up cracking any skulls.
Yeah,
I want to remind you about the T-shirts that the Denver police made in the year 2008 when the Democratic National Convention was being held in Denver.
Yeah.
Where some police got in trouble for making up a shirt that showed a picture of police holding billy clubs, and it said, "We wake up early to beat the crowd."
I doubt they got in trouble for that. They didn't get in any kind of trouble for that.
Trouble, I mean, they were put on desk duty during an investigation.
Right. That's like the worst case for something like that.
Yeah. There was no "you're fired." There was no
I mean, you can't even fire
unpaid administrative leave. It was "you're on desk duty for a week."
You can't even fire these guys for murdering people, so they're certainly not going to get fired.
Right, because there's a union, and the union's going to go to bat for them.
Masked anarchists, according to The Sun in the UK, have smashed windows and looted a McDonald's as thousands brought carnage to Paris in May Day protests. The far-left agitators chucked petrol bombs through windows and torched cars while others clashed with police. Some threw rocks at the police in the French capital, who responded with tear gas as the protest marches to mark International Workers' Day turned violent. Dramatic pictures show demonstrators wearing masks as they shatter windows at McDonald's before setting it on fire. Anti-capitalist, those are their words, looters then help themselves to food and drinks before grabbing cash from broken tills on the charred floor. Blazing cars can also be seen after thousands flooded the streets to march for the rights of workers around the world. So they're going to march for the rights of workers while destroying the very workplaces that the workers need to have their jobs in.
Right, because see, they're really only marching for certain workers. They're marching for the workers where the workers own the business, because if you have a boss, then that boss is part of the bourgeoisie and he's oppressing you. So we need these co-op style places to where everybody is part owner.
And sometimes that can work.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it doesn't seem like it works real well.
Right.
We've certainly seen our share of failures having made the news. I'm sure many of these places do not make the news when they have a failure in this employee-owned, employee-operated scheme.
Well, remember there was the place, was it Chicago, where we talked about where it went under because everybody that worked there, and I'm using air quotes there, made all the decisions jointly, and they never could decide on what time to open or what to serve for lunch or what time to close. And sometimes it would take a long time, like 20 minutes, to get a sandwich because there was no boss telling anybody what to do because we're all in this together. We're all the wait staff and cooks and busboys and everything, and nobody is actually doing anything.
I think the most recent version was in Boston. There was like a pizza place. I think it was. But and so, yeah, there's different stories out there. And, of course, there are also stories of successful employee-owned businesses like Publix, which is incredibly successful down in the Southeast, but it's not the same model as
right. I was
going to
say the bag boy isn't also signing off on schedules for the deli counter.
But if he sticks around for long enough, he can get a piece of ownership, a piece of the action.
Yeah, get some stock option, but he's not the one actually winding up. There's not a big giant meeting.
No.
All right. What are we putting in the deli section this week?
No, that's not the case. So there is still some sort of management structure there. It's not exactly the communist ideal of worker-owned.
Right.
But it is an example of a tremendously successful business that is, I believe, mostly owned by the employees of the company, if not fully. It's been a while since we've talked about it. There was a few times in the past where we talked about it in detail. You're welcome to comment, though. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Of course, The Sun is a mostly pictures-oriented publication. There's not usually a lot of information in their stories, but they do have some pretty amazing photographs of this destruction happening, and then also one man with a Soviet Supreme hoodie there in France, standing in front of a blazing, what appears to be, looks like a blazing motorcycle or something like that, lying down, crashed into something that is just on fire, and just all kinds of destruction behind him. And I
believe that's a car on its side, Ian.
It could be. He's just standing. Well, it looks like there's like a motorcycle maybe crashed into that car or something. But he's just standing there with his hand on his hips, and then he's got a Heineken in his other hand, just chilling there with his commie Soviet Supreme hoodie, and lots of destruction. Oh, yeah, there's a picture of that from the other side, Conan, where it's definitely a car on its side, engulfed in flames, and a motorbike that is also right there. So lots of destruction. Hooded protesters also stripped of fireworks during the chaos. I don't know what stripped of fireworks means. And today, as plumes of thick black smoke billowed across the city, elsewhere, Londoners marched through Trafalgar Square, holding up pictures of Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin.
This is the end is here, man.
I mean, this can't be that different from what happens every year on May Day in Europe. Is this really, particularly unusual?
Not
Remember,
really.
May Day is the communist holiday, right? The workers' paradise holiday.
Right, and the only reason that Labor Day is celebrated in September in the United States is so that it does not wind up being connected to the communist version of Workers' Day.
The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The organizers of the demonstration say it was against industrial disputes over pay, hours, union recognition, and outsourcing. So they destroyed some downtown France, in Paris. 855-450-FREE like freedom. If you want to join us here, we got more coming up. You can share your thoughts. This is Free Talk Live.
Mother's Day sneaks up and we hit the panic button. We get suckered into online flower giants pitching $19.99 flowers that end up costing $60. Or we grab last-minute produce department flowers that smell oddly of green onions. That tells Mom you don't care enough to send flowers from the Bouqs. That's short for bouquets, and they're bouquing awesome. Bouqs flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Bouqs farms, delivered straight to your mom, so they'll last weeks, not days. Bouqs even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous, Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Bouqs cut out the middlemen, you'll get amazingly fresh cut flowers at an amazing price. Show Mom how much you care. Send her artisan design flowers from the Bouqs. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter FTL. That's BOUQS.com, and remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. Bouqs.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
Free Talk Live.
I did all this construction. Well, I had the inspector come through, and he tells me it looks really good, but I think it looks better with Mr. Hamilton. I go, excuse me? He grabs a sledgehammer, and he just starts tearing the place apart. He says it'd be better with Mr. Hamilton. He was looking for payoff.
A $10 bill?
The guy was crazy. He went into my kitchen, and he asked for Mr. Lincoln.
I don't think I believe you.
My mother left me a porcelain doll collection that he just went to town on. And this is the problem with having to have inspections.
Thanks for the call, man. No, that was believable at the very first point.
The guy was asking for Mr. Hamilton.
How about Mr.
Alexander
Franklin?
Hamilton is on the front of a $10 bill. I mean, I'm like, holy crap, he's banging holes in the wall for a $10 bill?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and join us on the radio here. Take control of the airwaves. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, so Skype on in here at username LRN.FM or join us on the Discord, discord.lrn.fm. We're talking about May Day protests out in France that turned violent. Of course, that wasn't the only place where such protests were going on. We can talk more about that. Your calls and thoughts also welcome. Plus, the Congress people are so sad in Washington, D.C., and Darryl will tell us what that's all about. But, of course, Mother's Day is about to sneak up on you, so you really ought to probably do something about it by going to the Books and getting your mom some very nice flowers, not like that last-minute stuff you get at the produce department. You go to Books.com, and that's short for bouquets, by the way, BOUQS.com. Code FTL is going to save you 15% off of their prices. They're freshly cut from Books Farms and delivered straight to your mom so they last weeks and not days. They've even got farms on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous your mom will post pics of them and brag about you. Show your mom how much you care and send her artisan-designed flowers from the Books. BOUQS.com. Code FTL. Get you 15% off at Books.com. As we continue here, a little bit more about May Day protests. These are the May 1st is usually the day on which there are frequently so-called workers who go out and protest about how it is they really would prefer not to work at all. I'm sure if you talked to many of them, because they tend to come from the left, and that tends to be kind of a mutual viewpoint among many of those, the most extreme on the left. Of course, they are being called anarchists here in this mainstream media publication.
Very sadly so.
Which is, I think, one of the points that I wanted to make about this, and we've talked about before on Free Talk Live why some people will refer to themselves in the liberty movement, in the movement that we're in, the libertarian or voluntarist liberty movement, as anarchists. And I continue to say that is a mistake. You are unintentionally aligning yourself with these bomb throwers, with the people who are chucking Molotov cocktails into a McDonald's, destroying private property, flipping over cars, setting things on fire. That's who you're aligning yourself with when you say, I'm an anarchist. And most people aren't going to give you the chance to differentiate. Oh, no, I'm not one of those anarchists, like those people in the streets of France that are destroying property. I'm an anarcho-capitalist, which, of course, even more confusing and even more awful.
And you just threw capitalists into the mix,
right,
and you lost another 50% of your population.
Right, but Ian, you have been around these libertarian types for long enough that you know that they love arguing minutia.
Yeah.
To where I was listening to a podcast recently where a couple of the guys were arguing back and forth about the difference between the term government and governance.
My God.
Which is minutia that libertarians understand,
Yeah.
but your average run-of-the-mill Joe off the street is going to be, I don't see the difference.
Right. The average Joe on the streets isn't even thinking about government usually until it's tax time, and then they probably think bad things, and then they go ahead and begrudgingly pay the taxes
right, but
and get back to work.
If you're having a conversation with somebody and you're like, yeah, I don't like government, but I'm not opposed to governance. They're like, but that seems to be the same thing to me.
Yeah, you're not going to even get to the point where you'd be able to explain what the difference
right, just like
was.
the people that say, I'm an anarchist, but not the bomb-throwing kind.
Yeah, exactly. And usually it's, they don't even say it with the categorization. They just say, I'm an anarchist. And they just sort of put that out there and leave it sitting for people to draw conclusions about. So, once again, if you weren't aware, those of you who are libertarian types who call yourself anarchists, this is the kind of coverage anarchists get in the media. They get coverage about bomb throwing and destruction of property almost every time.
From both sides of the aisle, by the way.
Right.
The Republicans are just as likely to say it as Bill Maher.
Absolutely. And you never see headlines like, Ron Paul declares self-anarchist. He sure is a great guy, right? Like there's never any kind of positive coverage about anarchy in the mainstream media, or at the very least, libertarianism is sort of politically what it is. People may not know what it is, but at the very least, and they may be confused about it.
Most people don't know what it is.
Right.
Most people within the Libertarian Party are probably confused about what libertarianism is.
People at the very least are probably confused if a lot of people don't know anything about it. Some people are confused, but they've heard the term, but very rarely are you going to find somebody who thinks bomb thrower when you say the word libertarian. They might not think what a libertarian actually is, which of course is somebody who adheres to the non-aggression principle.
Right.
Somebody who doesn't believe in using aggressive force to achieve their goals in life. They probably don't get that, but that's okay. At least they don't think you want to kill them.
Give them another 20, 30 years, and they'll run libertarianism through the mud as well, and we'll have to...
Well, they already have.
For the last decade. When you've got jackasses like Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin saying, I'm a libertarian, and then you mentioned Bill Maher, that jackhole winds up calling himself a libertarian.
Right. Yeah, that's how they've drawn that through the mud at this point. I don't know. They would have to go a little bit further to actually find some bomb-throwing libertarian types, although certainly there have been some extremist violence advocates out there. Like Christopher Cantwell, for instance, when he was a libertarian, he got some of that negative publicity.
You mean when he claimed to be a libertarian?
Sure. Well, I mean,
but I still know people who ask me about him. It's like, hey, that libertarian Cantwell back in town?
Is that right?
And I'm like, dude, stop.
No, I don't know if he's going to come back for a while.
You mean the Fed?
7 to 10 years.
He's looking at a lot of years in prison, and his trial is going to be coming up in August.
Well, he got out, and now he's getting back. He got thrown back in, right?
No.
Because he was swearing out in public?
No, he did get arrested for swearing in public while drunk.
Stupid,
was it swearing or drunk? Because
drunk
I pulled up the
swearing,
statute,
apparently.
and both of those things are in the same statute, and you could be charged with either.
We don't know.
And it would not surprise me if he were doing both.
It wouldn't surprise me either, and he now is wearing an ankle bracelet that apparently can test you for your blood alcohol content without actually piercing your skin.
Whoa!
It can take a whiff of whatever is emanating from your skin and can determine based on that whether or not you are drunk.
Interesting.
So that's what he's doing. He's still out on bond, the last I'd heard. But so whether he was an actual libertarian or not, he certainly made a good show of it. He certainly knew how to sound like a libertarian, and probably was more principled than most people who claimed to be libertarians at that time. But either way, I don't think libertarianism has been as decimated, if you will, as the word anarchist. You're not going to save anarchist. I don't know if you can save libertarian either, but you're definitely not going to be able to save the word anarchist. So if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. There's other news about May Day. We can share that with you. But first, we have David in San Francisco, and you're on Free Talk Live, listening online. Hello, David.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you're talking about this topic right now.
Yeah.
Did you notice that Trump, he's fixed it up so that now tips can be grabbed by the bosses?
Did you say tips or
restaurant?
tits? Okay, tips. Because either one would be a shocking revelation.
That's part of being a boss, right?
Depends on where.
It shouldn't be. See, the fact of the matter is restaurant workers, there's an agricultural minimum wage. And if I remember right, it's only at like $3 an hour.
That's correct. Yeah, so I haven't heard anything about this. You're saying that this is something that Trump just sort of said, or is this like
Department of Labor came under fire Thursday morning.
Hold on, David. We'll bring you back here for that in moments. 855-450-FREE like freedom. I imagine the solution here would be if your boss is grabbing your tips to quit the job. More coming up.
You have been lied to, generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Pre-order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey,
who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here. Join the conversation about tipping or whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's 855-450-3733, or you can Skype in to join us on the Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio with you, it's Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
Also, coming up, Forkfest 2018. It's, about a month and a half away now. It's going to sneak up on you real fast. Coming up in June 14th through the 18th at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Whether you call yourself an anarchist or a libertarian or a voluntarist, you will likely find some like-minded souls at this particular event. How many? We have no idea. There's no tickets. There's no registration. There's the campsites, so you do have to acquire that through Rogers Campground. But beyond that, there's no admission fee or anything like that to go to Forkfest. It is a decentralized Liberty camping festival, and it's in its second year. It was barely talked about last year. We kind of last minute threw something together, and it wasn't us necessarily. It was just a group of people picked some days and said, hey, let's go to the campground on these days. It happens to kind of happen right before the Porcupine Freedom Festival, so it's the 5 days prior to that event. So if you're looking at getting up here in New Hampshire and checking out this beautiful place where you can be literally surrounded by more liberty-minded people than you could possibly even get to know, you can come up and join us for Forkfest and do whatever you want there. You can just kick back and camp with some other liberty lovers, or you can create things for those other campers to do. Maybe you want to do what Darryl's doing. He's putting together some athletic events that will be happening. You'll also be throwing a party, I believe, later that same night. There's a wedding that's happening on that Sunday, and I
thought the wedding was Saturday.
Ooh, I thought it was Sunday. I could be wrong about that. If you I don't know, Darryl. Now you've got me questioning whether or not it's Saturday or Sunday. I've been saying it's Sunday for quite a while here on Free Talk Live, but either way, if you're there for the weekend, you'll be there for that wedding. If you want to find out some of the things that are happening, there is the ForkFest forum, where there are different threads for whatever it is that people have decided they want to put on. So it'll be interesting to see what pops up here in the next month and a half as we approach ForkFest 2018. You go to forkfest.party. You can link over to the forum there. There's also a Telegram chat and the Discord chat rooms for you to communicate with other ForkFesters. And again, that's forkfest.party. As we go back to David in San Francisco. David, you brought up this question about some sort of a rule change with the Department of Labor in D.C. about tipping. And if you want to tell us a little bit more, we did do a little bit of research, but what's your understanding of this?
Well, this is it leads back to an article that was written by that famous black bloc group, Bloomberg Law, and they apparently wrote an article in February 1st of this year. Labor Department ditches data showing bosses could skim waiters' tips. And basically what it describes is, since Trump is trying to reverse everything that Obama did, Obama had a rule that said that the tip jar could be shared with the dishwashers and the people that worked in the back of the restaurant. Well, what Trump is doing by reversing it is saying that if such a pool exists, then the bosses get to dip their hand in. And so,
that's not the reporting that we're seeing here.
What I'm seeing is that the regulation that went through in 2011 during the Obama administration was that back-of-the-house employees were prohibited from receiving any of the tips.
So according to the story over at...
That was the way it was before.
Okay, so David, according to the story over at Vox.com, which tends to be a left-leaning opinion news site, at Vox, they say here that, well, first of all, there's the Trump proposal that would repeal the Obama-era regulation that made official what had been the common view for decades, that tips are the sole property of the workers who earn them. It would essentially allow employers, this new rule, to share their workers' tips with other staff or keep the tips for themselves, provided they pay the workers the full minimum wage. So that's the part that maybe you didn't get communicated very effectively, is that the only way the employer would be able to withhold tips in any way from their employees or from their wait staff would be if they were giving them the full minimum wage for payment. Instead of the $3 an hour, we're talking about the $7.50 an hour, then they would be able to do that. And there's been a proposal further by somebody else in Congress to try to partially block that rule. But even the partial, blockage would still clarify that if they paid their employees the full minimum wage, they could still distribute the tips to the back of the house.
The Forbes article specifies that part of the rule is really only applicable in the handful of states where tips are not treated as income. So if tips under state law are considered to be income, even if you are otherwise making the full minimum wage, then they still wouldn't be able to do this weird tip pool thing because the tip is part of your income.
I see. And that's in a few states, you said?
Yeah, and so
yes.
So the basis of this article is that the Trump people originally in the Department of Labor came up with some analysis of how much money would be transferred, whether it would be transferred to the owners, and they're saying in the first article I read that it was approximately $5.8 billion dollars per year that would be yanked out of the tip jar.
Well, no, that's only if the employer decided to distribute the tips in the way that they wanted to.
And
they may still allow their employees to just take tips as normal.
And that there was a federal court ruling in July of last year, according to Forbes, that said that the Labor Department doesn't have the authority to actually enforce the rule that went through in 2011.
Yeah.
Well, and see, that's the whole point, and that's why this labor study, which was in October of last year, which was after your July. That they first did an analysis that came up with that $5.8 billion. Then they did a second analysis. Trump wasn't happy with that, so they came up with another analysis and then another analysis, and he wasn't happy with either of those, so they didn't they didn't publish their analysis at any point. And so this has basically not only allowed them to filch from the tip jar, but to leave open the question of how much they can filch.
Yeah.
So I would urge you to go to the Bloomberg Law article of February 1st. Apparently that's where it got leaked first.
Yeah, Darryl's got the story from February, but there's been an update since then. The one I have here from Vox was late March 22nd. David, thanks for the call. You're missing some information, but I appreciate the heads up and the opportunity to discuss it.
I think you, on the last segment, you said it pretty plainly. If your employer was to do something like that, to take all of your tips, and you felt like you were being shortchanged, I think you said it just well.
Take a walk.
Take a walk. Leave them.
There's plenty of restaurants out there.
There's plenty of restaurants. I mean, I walk around town, and everyone's got a for sign placard in their window.
Not for sign, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hiring.
Now hiring.
Yeah.
And so go find yourself a better employer, and, it'll probably work out better for you.
And then the Forbes article also mentions that some states have laws on the books that prohibit tip sharing anyway. So just because a federal regulation is being repealed, maybe, possibly, doesn't mean that, all of a sudden nobody is actually winding up getting any of the tips because, greedy capitalists or whatever.
The 5.8 billion number, by the way, that he cited is mentioned in this Vox story. And again, that's a number of what it could cost service workers if every single manager or restaurateur in the entire country were to withhold all tips that were, given to their employees. That the idea that all restaurateurs are just waiting in the wings for this thing to pass so they can go and snatch up all their employees' tips.
And that's if they take the tip jar and take it for themselves. What they're supposed to distribute it. You're supposed to pull it out.
Right, but the restaurant managers and the restaurant owners, they want happy staff as much as they want happy customers.
Absolutely.
So they're not going to take all of the tips of that poor college girl that's making $3.12 an hour.
Total fear-mongering.
And if they do, leave them. Let the guy's flounder.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then his business will go down, and then that's how you control the situation.
Right. Well, now, Conan, we can talk more about this because you are not a fan of tipping.
Not at all.
And I want to get into that here.
Obligatory tipping.
Because I'm going to begrudgingly defend tipping here because I understand why people aren't fans of it, but I also can take the other side. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733 if you want to join us. Maybe you work in restaurants or have worked in them and you want to weigh in. It's Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here toll free. You want to talk tipping? A lot of people have opinions about this, especially people that are in the service industry, in the hospitality business, and others who might best be defined as cheapskates, like Conan. So,
but I'm also in the hospitality service, and I do receive tips on a regular basis.
What is your hospitality?
I drive
service?
people around all the time.
Is that hospitality?
I deliver mail. I get seasonal gifts.
I thought hospitality was like bartenders, wait staff, that kind of thing.
I'm I'm practically an Uber guy.
Yeah.
I drive people around all morning.
You don't drive for Uber?
Yeah, but I shuttle people around, and I compete with taxis and Uber.
Oh, you're working for a rental car company. Okay, I didn't know you.
They
did
pick
that
you up.
I didn't know that.
If you're within a certain amount and you're not a bad customer,
okay,
we'll gladly. If you're a good customer, we'll go pick you up.
Very cool. So we're talking about tipping and more in the traditional method, because one of the problems with tipping is knowing when to tip and what services for which you should tip. But we're talking about the traditional one that everybody should know, which is to say, sitting down at a restaurant in the United States, it's expected that you leave a tip.
Or if you go to a bar and you are at the bar, standard is you drop down $1.
$1 a drink.
Yes.
Outrageous. Outrageous.
So that is part of the.
This is why I don't go out.
I totally don't blame you. It can be frustrating, especially if you don't know what the standards are, because you don't get trained on these sorts of things, right? You just kind of bumble away, or at least for me, it's been like bumbling into different things and like asking people, hey, are you supposed to tip for this? Are you supposed to tip for that? Like, do you tip for this? Whether it be, getting a haircut or the guy at the hotel who, takes your bags. These are all things that you're generally supposed to tip for.
Generally, I'll leave $2.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody helps with bags at a hotel, not that I've ever had that. I've heard standard is $5 a bag.
Okay, because I normally give $1 or $2 or whatever.
What about the dude taking your shopping cart out, a full shopping cart out to your car?
You're not supposed to tip them.
Dude taking shopping carts?
You're not an
old
lady.
Old ladies get it done all the time.
Yeah, frequently, if you're...
Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, I worked very briefly at a grocer and was told that if somebody don't expect.
Yeah, okay.
Was told don't expect a tip. If somebody offers, then you take it, but don't expect a tip.
I've heard at some stores you have to turn it down initially, but if they insist, that you have to take it.
The people called skycaps at
the
airports, so they're the ones generally, they're helping somebody in a wheelchair. They generally are tipped, but again, they're told don't stand around and wait on a
Don't
tip.
put your hand out
right
afterwards.
And I think a lot of time the bellmen or whatever they're called at the hotels, you mentioned the people helping with bags.
Yep.
I've heard that they're also supposed to not wait around expecting a tip, but it's generally standard if somebody helps you with luggage to your room, you tip.
Then there's the most insulting one that I've come across, which is the guy standing in the bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah, you've talked about this guy.
I've never seen this guy before.
But I've never been to a restroom where somebody
movies.
helps me.
Usually they're not helping. In some cases, like I've been at a club during a rave
I can
where they
shake
just
it myself, thank you.
Yeah, where they just had a big guy standing in the bathroom. Now, presumably he's keeping the place clean, right? Like he's doing some cleanup level work after people
He's making sure people aren't snorting
vacate.
coke off of the
I don't know if he
counter
cares
or
about
something.
that, but what he does, I'm not clear, because he was just standing there while I was in there. He didn't offer me a hot towel or anything like that. Sometimes if you're in like a fancy place, they've got the fancy butler guy in there who like give you a hot towel or something after you're done.
And you think this big bodyguard guy was waiting for a tip?
He had a basket for tips. He
What?
absolutely did. Yes, he did.
Maybe he didn't actually work there.
He looked like he worked there. I think he might have had whatever security uniform on or whatever. But anyway, he certainly had the appearance of working there. So this is, again, we're just kind of talking about generally all these different areas where tipping's uncertain. How much you're supposed to tip is uncertain at best. But pretty much everybody knows that you're supposed to tip at a restaurant, at a table, for your server. Because whether you know it or not, and I don't know how many people know this, because I didn't know it until I started dating somebody who worked in hospitality. I had no idea that waitresses made less than anybody else in the workforce.
I thought that was standard knowledge.
Nobody taught me about that in school, and my parents never, I don't recall them explaining that to me when they explained, I think I was explained tipping at one point, but never the reasons why it's so important, because this is how these people live.
Right. So in that specific case, but you mentioned some of the other things, and I know a couple times a year you'll have some, air conditioner service guy come clean stuff out of the air conditioner. Is that something you're supposed to do? Because
no, I don't think so.
What I've always been told was, service jobs
Isn't every job a service job? You're performing some sort of service, whether it's for your employer or for the customer. Every job's a service job.
This is why it's confusing.
Well, there are certain jobs that are defined as, say, retail.
Uh-huh.
So the cashier at Target, yes, they're providing the service of, scanning the items and putting them in a bag,
right,
but that's not considered a service job.
Okay.
Service jobs are the ones, the aforementioned wait staff, the bellboy, your food delivery person, the bartender, somebody coming out to repair an air conditioner, the mechanic, tattoo artist.
So somebody working at a cashier who's providing a service of cashing you out at whatever product you want to buy is somehow not providing a service, but the person who's selling you food while you're sitting down at a table is providing you a service. I don't know, Darryl.
Make up the rules.
Either way, the point I was going to make here is that, most people do understand you're supposed to tip at a restaurant. Conan, you're against generally the idea of tipping. Would you like to see
obligatory tipping?
Would you like to see these, these waitresses, waiters getting paid minimum wage?
If I ran a restaurant, all of my people would be minimum wage, and I would have something on the wall saying that this is how
Let me ask this question.
This is how I pay my employees.
Let me ask this question because I know
any tipping done is for above and beyond service, but it is not obligatory. You are not required to tip, especially if you have a bad service member.
So I know where we currently have Social Sundays, which is the weekly social gathering. You don't show up to that because you, quote unquote, think the food is too expensive.
It is expensive.
Oh, it's very expensive.
They get paid at least minimum wage because they are not classified as servers.
You guys
so
still,
would you even hold on? I generally drop at least $1 in the tip jar. But my question to you is, if you ran a restaurant where you paid all of your staff at least minimum wage, would you even eat at your own restaurant?
It depends on what I'm selling. If it's a high class restaurant, maybe not.
many people don't eat at the restaurants they work at. They get tired of the food.
But I'm just pointing out that he's cheap and doesn't want to eat out anyway.
No, I have prepared food in large quantities. There is always scraps available, and I'm not throwing that in the trash. So I'm always going to have scraps to eat.
So you would pay minimum wage to service employees, to the servers at your restaurant, but they could get tipped if the customer felt like they received excessive or good service, really
correct.
good service.
And by the way, this is exactly why I like sticker price stores.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like haggling. I don't like not knowing what something is worth and having to sit there. Get rid of all that nonsense.
Possible you're going to get the lowest common denominator quality of server if you're paying them all the same rate?
It's the same thing with obligatory tipping, where if you have to give a bad waitress money,
but you don't,
and
if you get bad service,
and then you get your food spit in the next time you're there,
well, then don't go back to that restaurant.
There's a pair of restaurants downtown Keene where I've never had good service or good food. I don't eat there.
Well, sometimes I've been in restaurants where the food is very good, but it just was crappy service.
Yeah. Have you ever talked to the management about that? Because that's
I have, but like I said, I don't do this often enough to even.
Right. So the argument, though, for tipping, right, the current structure as it is and is unlikely to change probably in our lifetimes, is that if the person who is the server is getting paid a sort of a pittance level, because apparently somebody had said it was $3, and I thought it was $3, but
I think federal
according to Vox, it's
like
$2.15 or
yep.
something like that. So it's actually even lower than what I thought it was. So they're getting paid barely anything on an hourly basis. That the idea is that incentivizes them to be as good of a server as possible, because if they aren't a good server, they're not going to make enough money to survive in that business. So the idea is,
except they're always going to have to deal. They can do outstanding 120% work, and it's just going to be that blowhard who decides to leave a dime. Or a Bible, or one of those Bible $20
right,
$20
the
Bible
fake
books,
$20 looking thing, and then they wind up getting taxed based on a percentage of receipts, whether they receive that money or not.
Is that right?
Yes.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Do you want to defend or attack tipping? You're welcome to do that, or bring up anything that you want here on Free Talk Live.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com, or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Conan, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 1st, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.28 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,307 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $37, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,928. Antiwar.com reports unnamed Iranian officials were quoted in the Tasnim news agency denying reports Monday that an overnight Israeli attack on Syria hit Iranian bases and killed mostly Iranians. They said the claims were baseless and that no Iranians were killed at all. The Israeli attacks began Sunday night with bunker-busting missiles hitting arms depots in Hama and Aleppo provinces. The strikes destroyed some 200 missiles and killed between 16 and 26 people, according to various accounts. Those accounts all claim the majority of the slain were Iranians. This discrepancy may be because Iran and Western media have different definitions of what constitutes an Iranian. Tasnim's comments appeared to make clear that none of the slain were Iranian military advisors who were deployed in Syria. Israel claims Iran has 80,000 fighters in Syria, though, and the vast majority of them aren't really Iranians. Rather, the habit has been to portray Shiite militia members supporting the Assad government as Iranians, even though large numbers are from Iraq, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. It may be that militia members were killed in the strike. The Israeli strikes were so big and caused such an explosion that they actually registered as an earthquake of 2.6 magnitude in Hama. Israel has yet to officially comment on the attack, which is not unusual. Syrian state media accused U.S. and British missiles of being fired during the salvo from Jordan. That appears not to have been the case, however. The Israeli strike may be less about targeting anything in particular than about testing their ability to keep attacking Syria. After the U.S.-led attack on April 13th, there was growing expectation that Russia would limit everyone's ability to strike Syria, including Israel's. Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman said over the weekend that freedom of action in attacking Syria was vital to Israel and that it would be maintained at any cost. This attack may amount to Israel attacking just to see what reaction, if any, they get from Russia. Russia is in the process of delivering S-300 missiles to Syria, which will greatly enhance their air defense capabilities. In addition to testing reaction, Israel may be also hitting a site they believe will be harder to hit when the S-300s arrive. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports former Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore filed a lawsuit on Monday claiming the women who accused him of sexual assault sought to defame him as part of a political conspiracy. The suit, jointly filed with his wife Kayla Moore, names 3 women who made accusations against Moore, including Lee Korfman, Beverly Young Nelson, and Tina Johnson as defendants, as well as 2 other people. The lawsuit claims Korfman, Nelson, and Johnson were the only women to accuse Moore of improper conduct and did so with the intent of derailing his Senate campaign. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. Reuters reports Arizona school teachers vowed to continue their walkout over salaries and school funding on Tuesday as lawmakers considered a proposal advanced by the governor and legislative leaders for ending the latest in a string of statewide protests by U.S. educators. Arizona's strike has kept the vast majority of its 1.1 million school children out of classrooms since teachers walked off the job last Thursday. It follows similar walkouts by teachers in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Oklahoma that marked the first statewide U.S. teacher work stoppages since the 1990s. Thousands of red-clad Arizona teachers flocked to the state capitol in Phoenix for a 3rd day on Monday to press the legislature for greater education spending as lawmakers opened talks on various state budget proposals. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey last week announced a deal with legislative leaders to raise teachers' pay by 20% by 2020, along with $371 million in new funding over the next 5 years for improvement in school infrastructure, new school buses, and upgrades to technology and curriculum. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
report confirms that many Iraqis are still holding a petty grudge about the U.S. invasion. An advanced alien civilization discovers an uninhabitable planet, and a single woman has a Facebook profile picture with her sister. This is the Onion Week in Review. A groundbreaking study published Monday in the Journal of the American Medical Association confirmed that it is impossible to lose weight. No one has ever done it, and those who are trying should give up immediately. Researchers said that findings conclusively prove that shedding excess weight has never happened, changing your physical appearance is impossible, and that all sorts of exercises, personal training regimens, and diets will never, ever work.
Well, our test results conclusively prove that if you're going to the gym to lose weight, you will fail. You could work out every day and eat nothing, and you still wouldn't lose an ounce. Skinny people will stay skinny. Overweight people will be overweight. It's just how it is.
In other news, an area man is outraged his private information is being collected by someone other than advertisers. And a crowd cheers as this 93-year-old fuck-up finally graduates from college.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, launching into the second hour of the program. You can dial toll-free here at 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line room. You can jump over to discord.lrn.fm and hop in there. Get on the air with us. We've been talking about tipping. It was actually one of our callers who brought this up. Still to come, though, we've got other stories, including the poor congresspeople. Talk about underpaid. Darryl, you've got a story in relation to that, so I think that'll tie in nicely when we're done with talking about tipping, and I don't think we are quite yet. But if you want to weigh in here again, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's Ian, Conan, and Darryl in the studio. Conan, you were saying you don't like the idea of tipping. You'd like to see it go away. You want to have a restaurant.
I'm okay with tipping for above and beyond service.
Okay. But
that is how you incentivize those workers to go above and beyond to get a nice tip at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's generally what tipping is supposed to do, is incentivize workers to provide good service.
For example, I never expect to receive a tip, and so it's always
a bonus.
It's always a bonus. It's like, wow, I wasn't even expecting that. Thank you very much. And it means even more to me.
And I think you're right. There is an expectation of a tip generally in the restaurant business as far as servers are concerned. And that's because that's how they make their money. And so generally, if you're given average service, you're expected to give an average tip of 15 to 20%.
Right.
If it's poor service, then there's also a question of how do you best handle that. That was being discussed in our Discord chat a few moments ago. Is if you're given poor service, do you leave no tip? Because if you leave no tip, that might miscommunicate. Tipping isn't always the best form of communication. It might miscommunicate to that server that, oh, well, maybe the person just forgot. Whereas if you leave a penny, then that's generally considered the insulting, like, you suck kind of tip. Because
right, and sometimes people will not tip because, well, the food wasn't cooked exactly how I like it, so I'm going to show them.
That's not the server's fault, though, right?
Right, it's not the server's fault, but some people are just like, well, this restaurant did X, and I'm going to show them. And that's one of those cases where you really should wind up, as you asked Conan earlier, of have you asked for a manager?
Talk to the manager, right.
And by the way, I do tip, but because I'm so against the whole practice of it, I just don't go out as often.
Which is
sad because which is sad sometimes.
Yeah,
but
I still don't think that leaving a small tip is the best way to communicate. If you want to leave a note, that is a way to communicate directly, or as you said, talk to the manager and let them know what your experience was like and how it could have been better, and then that word will likely get down to the level of the employee who was your server in that particular case. But so again, the argument for tipping in its current form, and again, it's unlikely to change anytime soon, is that that the servers are making very, very little, and so therefore they should be inspired to go above and beyond and to provide good service in general, because if they can't, they're not going to make it as a server, period.
Right.
They're going to have to quit that job. So that's the argument, to keep it as is. I understand your argument, Conan, but without an across-the-board sea change in this area, I think that what you'll end up happening, and if somebody who's in hospitality wants to weigh in here as more of an expert on this, because I've never actually worked in the trade, I've just known people closely who have. If you were to, let's say in downtown Keene, New Hampshire, where we live, open up Conan's bar or restaurant or whatever, and you're announcing, it's there on the menus, it's on the door. I mean, it's obvious that to your customers that this is not a place where you are expected to tip because you're paying your servers whatever the wage is, that's minimum or higher, right? Like whatever you decide.
Which, by the way, should go over really well here in Crunchy Keene with all the lefties.
You think so?
I think they'd love it.
Well, see,
he's paying his wait service minimum wage. Good for him. Or maybe even a little bit more, because everyone here is a couple of dollars more than minimum wage.
Are you only serving organically raised, fair traded something bunny rabbits?
Only food bought at the co-op.
Oh, so it's going to be really expensive then.
Yeah, all right, exactly. So $1,000 for a burger so that Conan can pay everybody fight for 15 wages.
So here's my concern, though, is if you go to this minimum wage or higher for all of the servers and you let it be known that there's no expectation of tipping, but you can tip if you feel like you've gotten really good service, in theory it could work, but I think you're going to attract a type of server there that isn't going to be the best type of server, because the best servers know they can get paid very, very well if they go and they work at a place where the tips tend to be decent. Like the tickets are high for the food, so they get a decent 15 or 20% or whatever. That's where you're going to find some of the best servers, or in the more professional, high-level restaurants where there's probably a lower amount of turnover. There's generally a lot of turnover in the restaurant business in general.
Right.
But you're also, one of the problems is, one of the reasons why I think a lot of the best servers wouldn't want to work there is because they would know that this would be the cheapskate restaurant. Right, so if all the cheapskates in town find out, hey, there's a place we can go out to eat and we don't have to tip, the boss man doesn't expect it, the employees don't expect it, then that's going to be a chunk. I don't know what portion of your customers it'll be, but it'll be a portion of the customers, of the people who are willing to pay to eat out but hate tipping. The people like, I don't want to name names, but there are some of those people who we know around here.
And there are fairly lengthy threads on some of the old forums that I don't know if they're still active or not.
There's one on the nhfree.com forums.
Yeah, where isn't that like 15 pages now?
Yeah,
it's 17.
It's
long.
I don't. You're not going to get rid of the cheapskates.
Yeah.
And as just as much as you're not going to get rid of wait service who are poor versus those who work above and beyond. I think that you're always going to have portions of those.
That's probably true.
Of those three, and regardless of how you pay them.
Right, just like any job where people are being paid an hourly wage, you're always going to find somebody that slacks off.
This is true.
All right, so if you want to weigh in here, you're welcome to 855-450 free like freedom. And I wonder how this has worked. I mean, somebody for sure has tried this, right? This must have been experimented. This is not a new idea.
I think there's some lobster place in Mass or something right near us that does this.
I don't know, but I know I reported on a restaurant in Pittsburgh. I forget the name of it, but it's one of those sort of highfalutin sort of places where it's also employee run.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a sort of different vibe to it, as Conan described it, sort of a crunchy feel to where the employees, so it's not sort of like that place in Grand Rapids that I thought was Chicago that closed down because we can't decide what time to open.
And they're taking like 40 minutes to make a sandwich.
Right. There is kind of a hierarchy, but the employees are encouraged to come up with ideas on how to improve the restaurant instead of just everybody decide what time we open tomorrow and nobody's really in charge or doing anything. And that place seems to be functioning. So I think it could work in, small sort of areas, but I don't think there's ever going to wind up being like a big chain restaurant that functions under this model.
Yeah. I'm interested in hearing how people in hospitality feel about this. If you want to weigh in, you're welcome to. Our number here is 855-450 free like freedom. But let's move on to some people who are upset about their rate of pay. The Congress people. You don't have the story, Darryl? Something went wrong?
Computer just wound up freezing when I was pulling up something about a tip restaurant.
The summary, though, of this story that we can get into here in a little bit is that Congress, apparently, they're upset because they just can't afford to live in more than one place, and they're having to sleep in their offices.
Yeah, these poor Congress critters that, basically, they didn't want this. They did not go spend months and months and months and tens of thousands of dollars begging for this job. They were just, like minding their own business, watching Netflix, and then, dragged out in the middle of the night and thrown into D.C., apparently.
Was your story from New York Post? Because I've got that
It
one.
is. Yes.
These Congress members are sleeping on the job and defending their right to do it, crying poverty amid decade-long stagnant salaries and Washington's steep cost of living. An increasing number of House lawmakers have turned into professional squatters at night, hitting the sack in their Capitol Hill offices on everything from cots in closets to futons stashed behind constituent couches to save a few bucks during the work week. Washington is too expensive, said Representative Dan Donovan, a Republican from SI?
Staten Island.
Oh,
so I had to
okay.
Google that because since it's the New York Post, they're using the regional abbreviations for places in New York.
All right, we'll come back with more here on the poor babies who just aren't getting enough coverage. They're not getting enough money, they say, even though they've got
They only make $174,000 a year.
Plus
They can barely
benefits.
feed their families.
Plus benefits, right? Yeah. Sweet benefits packages. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dynavite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies, grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynavite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
And Cindy Lukasevic.
inviting you and your pets to Dynavite.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Mother's Day sneaks up and we hit the panic button. We get suckered into online flower giants pitching $19.99 flowers that end up costing $60. Or we grab last-minute produce department flowers that smell oddly like green onions. That tells Mom you don't care enough to send flowers from the Books. That's short for bouquet, and they're booking awesome. Books flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Books farms and delivered straight to your mom, so they last weeks, not days. Books even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Books cuts out the middleman, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. Show Mom how much you care. Send her artisan design flowers from the Books. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter code FTL. That's BOUQS.com. And remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. That's Books.com, BOUQS.com. And remember, code FTL saves an extra 15%.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want here. We're talking about tipping. We got the story about the Congress people. They're crying about how tough it is to have to live two places. Only $80,000? $74,000 salary. Apparently some of them are sleeping on cots in their offices. We'll tell you more about that. Coming up here with you tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
Also, don't forget Bitcoin.com. Go and learn more about cryptocurrency, the one that started it all, Bitcoin, which has now become multiple Bitcoins. There's several competing Bitcoins out there. The two big ones are Bitcoin Core, Bitcoin Cash. And Bitcoin.com's got some of that information there. Also, they've got news headlines, the latest news from the world of Bitcoin. You go to news.bitcoin.com and you can get started there and find out what's happening in the world of Bitcoin. It's all free over at news.bitcoin.com. Plus, you want to get involved in Bitcoin mining, you can join the Bitcoin.com mining pool over at pool.bitcoin.com. As we continue here, we actually did have a call, but unfortunately Angela had dropped off the line. So we're going to go to Neil. He's on the line on Skype. Hello, Neil.
Hey, guys.
Hey there.
I just want to let you know that Sunday, when the caravan hit the border, I was on the CNN Facebook page, and I spoke out against it on Sunday. When I woke up Monday morning, I was put in Facebook jail for 30 days for speaking out against illegals. Like illegals are a race. They're not a race. They're illegal.
No human being is illegal, first off.
I am proud to be an illegal. I'd like to say that.
From what I've heard, this supposed caravan that people keep talking about, it's a group of refugees coming from Guatemala, I believe.
Yeah, somewhere south of Mexico,
and
right?
Thirdly, what sort of recompense or whatnot do you think we can do for Facebook saying that you can't post on their platform?
About it. I mean, what are we going to do about that? Look, Facebook sucks. That much I'll agree with you on.
Yes.
But I will not agree with you that immigrants are a bad thing. I mean, what is the problem with people trying to escape from bad governments and come to a place where they believe, at least, that they're going to have more freedom?
I don't have a problem with that as long as they do it legally.
Do you know what the legal process is?
Yeah, it takes a while, but that's what it is.
And a lot of money. And how do you know that they're not going to, after getting to the border checkpoint, start filling out all of those applications and other government documents?
Well, if they come through the border and apply for asylum or whatever it is they're doing, and then I guess they have
right,
to
so
go
you don't know if they're applying for anything. You're just assuming that they're going to try crossing the border illegally and then steal your job.
But there was quite a number of them that were caught crossing the border illegally that are now being detained under charges. Some of them felonies because they'd been deported before.
Yeah. So, I mean, just color me unconcerned about people coming to the United States to seek a better life for themselves, whether they do it legally or illegally. I don't care because I believe in freedom. And to me, it's not freedom if you have to ask some bureaucrat for permission to do something.
Right.
Why would why would somebody who purportedly cares about freedom, I mean, maybe you don't care about freedom, Neil, but
I do care about freedom, but I also believe in, closed borders and doing
that's
it
not
legally.
freedom. I'm sorry, but you can't. You're holding a dichotomous viewpoint there. You're holding a self-contradictory viewpoint. You have the viewpoint that you believe in freedom, but you want
in
closed
freedom
borders
for himself. He doesn't believe in freedom for all humans.
His tribe.
Well, maybe not even for his tribe, probably just for himself.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, you guys are maybe not agreeing with me, and I kind of thought that you were Americans, but maybe you don't agree with me.
As an American, I was raised to believe that this is supposed to be a free country, and freedom includes the freedom to move around on property on which you're welcome. Now, if you have a piece of private property and you don't want to welcome people, then, put up a fence, put up some warning signs, and you're welcome to keep people off your property. But if I want people to come here into my property, and there are other people who want to welcome people to come to their property, who are you to say they shouldn't be able to do that in a so-called free country?
Well, isn't the United States our private property? And they
No, sir. The United States is a political organization.
And also, doesn't the Declaration of Independence, which I realize is not a legally binding document, but it does say that all men are created equal. It doesn't say only people born on the plot of land referred to as the United States of America are created equal. Yeah. And also, people from Guatemala technically are Americans because they are on the giant landmass known as
America.
North America.
Yeah,
I think the problem with this argument is that a lot of people who fear illegal aliens coming into the country, what they really fear is not that they're taking their jobs, but they're getting onto social programs and taking advantage of programs.
Even though there's no real evidence that they're doing that, and we've covered things showing that...
Well, you don't need evidence to create fear, right? You just have to lie to people.
But we've... Actually, a couple nights ago, we covered a story showing that undocumented immigrants paid, I believe it was $100 billion into Social Security Medicare.
And they can't get it out.
And they're never going to receive that.
They don't have a Social Security card.
Because they have this thing called a job, and in order to get a job, you have to provide some form of identification, which means they're not providing their own Social Security number. They're providing somebody else's.
Could be a dead person.
That's illegal.
Wait.
Lots of things are illegal, Neil.
Who cares, dude?
The IRS doesn't care how they're getting the money. They care that they are getting the money.
Yeah. Are you going to try to tell me, Neil, that you've never done anything that's illegal?
You've never sped, you've never crossed a street at some place other than a crosswalk when it said cross?
Yes, as an American citizen, I have done that.
That makes you illegal. Welcome to the club. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE.
And crossing the border without the federal government's permission is a violation. It's not a misdemeanor.
Really?
It's not a felony. It is a federal violation.
But they're still holding people in detention centers for quite a long time over that violation, right?
Unfortunately, they do.
Okay, you're talking about, Darryl, the guys who have been able to acquire a Social Security number or they've stolen one. I'm talking about the migrant workers and the guys out in front of Home Depot who are doing day labor. There's an awful lot of them as well.
Yeah,
right, and they're getting paid cash.
Right. Okay, what happens?
The people that were working at the meat packing plant in Tennessee that got arrested, they were working W-2 jobs.
Okay,
they weren't working for cash.
I'm talking about the under-the-table guys who end up having to go to the emergency room.
Excellent. Under-the-table work. Everybody should be an under-the-table worker because the IRS should not get a document on anybody's wages.
But until that happens, you're going to be able to use this argument that there are people taking advantage of the system that we pay into and some people don't.
Okay, so what about the single mom that has 3 children, all of them going to government school? She's also taking advantage of a system.
I'm not arguing with that.
Excellent. Then what are we arguing about?
I'm playing devil's advocate, agreeing with Neil. I'm coming from his direction.
Okay,
right,
so
but
what's your point?
What are we arguing about? Because there are Americans who, quote-unquote, take advantage of the system.
This is also true.
Florida Man has done a lot of horrible things. Are we going to ban Florida Man?
We should ban Florida, actually.
The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. Of course, you're welcome to weigh in here, whether it's tipping or so-called illegal immigration. To me, the people who ignore the government and just live their lives are heroes, and I appreciate them because a lot of those folks are hardworking people that did not come here to mooch off the system. I'm sure those people exist too. There's Free Talk Live.
They're called
Healthcare
Congress.
Reform is confusing. With the loss of the Obamacare mandate, those needing help can now choose an affordable alternative. By joining Liberty HealthShare, you're part of a community of health-conscious Americans all over the country who control their own healthcare costs and choices. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of their medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. It's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You don't want to close the border? You must not be Americans, is what we were told just moments ago by a shocked caller who figured we would be on board with the idea of building a wall or whatever other, ridiculous measures.
He misunderstood libertarian.
Yeah. So we got more. You're welcome to comment, whether it's on tipping or the border or whatever. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live. I'm your host, Ian.
And I'm Conan.
And I'm Darryl.
And you can also join us on our Discord on-air call-in line room. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. You can jump in there. You can also get on our Skype. That's Skype username lrn.fm. And let's continue here with your calls and thoughts. But first, I do want to let you know about Zencash. We talk a lot about Bitcoin here on Free Talk Live, but there are a lot of other alternatives in the world of cryptocurrency. And one of the ones that I think is most interesting is Zencash, not just because they've got some of the best technology out there, like zero-knowledge anonymity, which helps keep your transactions private, They've also got, according to you now, Darryl, there's a new updated number on the number of secure nodes within the Zencash system. We'd been reporting it at over 8,000.
Yes.
And we've been reporting that number for probably at least a month now. Apparently, it has shot up even more to nearly 12, over 11,000 secure nodes, which means it has apparently more nodes than the Bitcoin full nodes.
Yeah, and that actually came out in an email a couple of days ago, which means that there's probably even more nodes now, because every time I looked, the number goes up.
That's pretty cool, which means that, the more nodes, the more impervious that network is to being taken down.
And unlike a Bitcoin node, there's not necessarily any amount of the crypto that is being held in that node. For a secure node, these are people that are setting aside at least 42 Zen to help run that as a secure node. So these are people that are staking their money where their mouth is.
That's pretty important stuff. So go to Zencash.com to learn more about it. It was created by voluntarists, people who love the ideas of voluntary interaction, and actually wrote it into their white paper. See it for yourself, do your due diligence, and go to Zencash.com. As we go to Lance, he's in Harvest, Alabama, listening to WBHP. Hello, Lance.
Good afternoon, sirs, and thank you, team, for being on and expressing your opinions one way or the other.
Welcome. It's a pleasure, of course, to be on over at WBHP, one of our longest-running affiliates out there. Are they airing us early tonight? Because I didn't think they were supposed to put us on until 8 o'clock Central.
No, it's comes on 7 o'clock Central every night.
Awesome. Cool.
Right after, heck, I can't even remember his name, so I'm trying to think of it right now.
Don't worry about it. Here we are now. What's your comment? Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, I don't agree with the methodology of the last caller, but I do agree with his position.
And what's that?
And I can tell you, my wife is from Guatemala, and we have gone through the legalization process to bring her here. It took us about, I'm going to say a good 9-10 months. And then along with that, we did all the paperwork, and there was even a little while I was in Afghanistan, she had to fly back up here from Guatemala and stay with my parents while she attended some of her appointments.
And how much money did this cost over the 9 to 10 months? Application fees, what you might have had to hire an attorney, or tell me more about that.
Actually, no. The cost, grand total, I think we were out $500 or $600.
That seems
that's a lot cheaper than what I've heard from others saying that it's closer to 9 to 10 years and about $15,000.
Well, see, a lot of people go through lawyers and everything, which if you go on the USCIS.gov website, all the forms are there with all the instructions. You just have to be very, very meticulous in filling them out. And for a while after we were here, my wife actually got employed in Birmingham working with an immigration office. And the place that the cost of the immigration process really went up for a lot of people was that either A, they had been charged with a felony in their home country, or B, they had a felony charge here or some kind of a misdemeanor or a legal problem here. Now, you have to annotate all that on your NCIS form, or USCIS, U.S. Customs and Immigration, NCIS. I'm a goober.
Is it possible you got some sort of preference because
they needed exceptions, they needed representation? So for us, all said and done, and now, Grant, I'm saying $600 to $700, and this was about 7 years ago. Now, for the group that's coming up from Guatemala right now, and even my wife, she's in Guatemala right now, as a matter of fact, visiting family. They can say, we're going to America to escape prosecution. Now, that is not necessarily true. If that is true, why are they not stopping in Mexico? And the answer to that is easy. Mexico has very stringent immigration laws.
Maybe from Guatemala, but not from what I've heard from the people that live there.
My wife is a Guatemalan lawyer.
Uh-huh.
And so at the point when you can say, well, we're not stopping here because of the violence in Guatemala, you can say it's not about that anymore. You've just null and voided your entire argument when you have to say, well, I have to illegally cross that border. Because you can apply for immigration under the same pretense in Mexico.
But why should somebody who's a free person have to apply for anything? That's begging. That's asking somebody's permission. That's asking for a bureaucrat to give you their blessing. That's not freedom.
Is your car locked in the parking lot right now?
Huh?
Is your car locked in the parking lot?
Yeah, but
right
it's his parking lot.
What's your point?
He owns that. We don't own the border.
What's your point about the car anyway?
Oh, because we lock it to protect what we have. And that's same goes with your car. You don't want people just coming in and taking things, which is what happens when people come in and under the current, oh gosh, it's leaving my mind right now. But
so you're saying you're likening locking one's personal conveyance to locking down the border?
I don't lock my car because I don't want you to have anything. I lock my car because I want to keep what I have.
I understand what you're saying, but you're likening that to locking down the border, correct? You're saying they're basically the same thing.
Right. Now, okay, going on your premise, everything is free people.
No, I didn't say everything is free.
Your premise, when people come here and they cross that border illegally, how are the majority of them immediately paying for housing, car, medical?
Well, if you go and rent a house, normally you've got to pay the landlord to rent the house, so that's usually how that works. Sometimes they'll share a house between multiple people because that lowers the cost of renting and transportation. There are various different ways to transport. Whether it be catching rides from people, ride sharing, or buying a car. I mean, these are all things that people can do, and they can do it easier if they don't have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars to some government officious bureaucrat, which of course only makes the government bigger. But I'd like to address your point about the car for just a moment. The car is a piece of private property, and you of course have the ability to decide what to do with your private property. You want to leave it locked? You want to leave it unlocked? That's your business. There's nobody who's going to come in to point a gun at me over whatever it is I decide to do with my car, whereas just recently, here's a headline for you that I've got in my show prep tonight. Headline, upstate New York farmer says ICE officers stormed his farm without a warrant, cuffed him, and threw his phone. They weren't doing that because of what he did with his car. They were doing that because they want to lock down the border to, assuage people like you into thinking that the government's doing something to keep people who are supposedly scary and, whatever out. And ultimately, the locked down border means that you don't have the freedom to leave, and it also means that you've got goons that are coming into businesses and pointing guns at business owners and demanding their files, holding their employees at gunpoint, all under the auspices of this so-called lockdown that you seem to support.
I never said lockdown. And so you're saying, okay, we'll continue the analogy of the car. So your car is your sovereign property. Yeah. You can do with it what you want because you are the leader of your car. You own it.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point am I expected to give away services? Am I expected to give away money and housing?
Nobody's saying that you need to give anything away.
You mentioned scary people. I never.
Where you're failing to understand here is you don't have a right to tell your neighbor that they can't invite certain people to their property.
Yeah, man. Lock everybody out of your car, your property. Do whatever you want with your own property. Just don't try telling me what to do with mine. We'll let you respond to that coming up here in a moment, Lance, if you want. It's up to you. 855-450 free like freedom. 855-450-3733. Freedom should apply to everybody in private property too.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free, join us on the air. Our number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. We are in the midst of one of the hottest, continually hot discussions on the radio and in the United States in general, and that is immigration. It is a much misunderstood topic. A lot of fear-mongering being bandied about in general to keep people afraid of this invading horde of people that most of them just want to make a better life for themselves. But sure, there's going to be some criminals, involved in millions of people that are coming across the border. Inevitably, a small portion of them will be undesirable folks, and there might be some undesirable people who want to just take advantage of a welfare system. I have not encountered those types of immigrants in my life, but that's not to say they don't exist.
Right, and there are also some, quote-unquote undesirable people wanting to take care or take advantage of the welfare system that are born and raised in this country. So I don't really see the whole argument of they might take welfare as a valid argument for let's just shut off all immigration. If you want to argue against welfare, argue against welfare.
We'll agree with you.
Otherwise, you're just being a xenophobe.
And I would say that those individuals taking advantage of the welfare state far outnumber these illegal immigrants that we're all afraid of.
You mean
I'm not afraid of any of them.
The homeborns, the ones, the welfare queens, the ones that have been here forever.
Right, Lance, and
generation after generation.
We got Lance with us here. He's on the line listening to WBHP there in the Huntsville area in Alabama. And Lance, you'd mentioned there toward the end of the last segment that we, are in somehow in favor of you having to provide services. And no, I just want to clarify. I think I can speak for all three of us that we're against government welfare. So, no, you should not be forced to provide services to anybody except for people that are paying for them or that you want to give them services.
To put it another way, no good or service should be provided at the barrel of a gun.
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
I said no good or service should be provided at the barrel of a gun.
I absolutely agree. So as your taxes are being raised, if you refuse to pay them, what happens?
Well, that's the problem.
The gun comes out.
Right.
And that's why we're all against taxation.
That's why we
theft.
The barrel of the gun.
I'm sorry, you got a little garbled there. Can you say that again?
So if you don't pay your taxes, they come at you with the barrel of a gun.
They do.
Right.
As Mao Zedong said, that's where political power grows from.
Okay. Now, as personnel arrive here from Guatemala, Honduras, Ecuador, China, Japan, you name the country, first thing they come in and they start receiving medical services. Now, you yourself have said they live with other people. They get rides from other cars. Now, how do they pay for that medical service? Now,
many of them work and pay for it.
Hippocratic oath, how is that doctor being paid? Who's paying for that doctor as they come over here? Because as wonderful as they are, and I wish no harm to them, things happen. People will have to go to the hospital sick, and doctors will have to provide. Now, who's paying for that?
Well, sometimes, first of all, you're asking about the current system, which many of us don't support. We don't support forced wealth redistribution. So, but in the world where we don't have forced wealth redistribution, doctors, many of them will provide free clinics, and they will provide certain services for free on a charitable basis. There are charity wings of hospitals. Some dentists have a day where they service all very poor people who come in and just need help, and they're willing to do it. People can be charitable because it's a kind thing to do, and many humans are very, very charitable, and I don't think we would have any problem providing people with whatever services were necessary on a completely consensual basis. But if you're asking, are governments forcing people to provide services? Yes, governments are doing that through forced wealth redistribution, which we oppose here. And I presume you also oppose forced wealth redistribution, correct?
Oh, absolutely. That's another big conversation.
So we agree on that point. So, Darryl, you were making this point off the air. I don't think you really made it on the air.
I attempted to. If you want to argue against welfare, argue against welfare. If you're arguing against immigration under the guise of welfare, then that just comes off to me as being xenophobic.
Okay, and you're absolutely right. At that point, it is a hoarder mentality. It is pseudo-selfish. Now, please tell me, why should I support? If you look at the immigration laws of Guatemala and Mexico, tell me, could you get there, just say, I want to live here, and do it?
I know people who are living in Mexico illegally, and they're not worried about being caught because their understanding is if they get caught, Mexico will remove them from the country, and then they can come right back, basically. Was their understanding.
I've never looked into immigrating to either Mexico or Guatemala, but I have seen studies that said that the vast majority of undocumented immigrants into Mexico are Americans who just completely ignore the Mexican immigration laws because they think, I'm an American, I can do what I want.
And arguably they can. They can pay off whatever the small fine is.
By your example, you said they're not afraid because they know they just get thrown out. And they can come back.
That's kind of
But now, see, by your argument, you're saying that if we find them here, you're upset that we are throwing them out. And the majority of them will try to come back. So
yeah, because a free country shouldn't be doing what other countries are doing. The so-called free country should not be trying to emulate Germany or Mexico.
This just shows that the U.S. is not a free country.
No, it's not.
And also it should be pointed out that the Berlin Wall... The Berlin Wall that everybody acknowledges kept people in East Germany, it was actually built and called the Anti-Fascist Protection Rampart to keep out the Americans and other American sympathizers in West Germany from going into East Germany.
Maybe Trump will name his wall the Freedom Wall in that same mindset.
He's really good at building walls.
Lance,
and towers.
I want to say thank you. Any other thoughts you want to share tonight? Go ahead.
No, I just want to appreciate you guys' time. I know that you have a couple 1,000 other callers who are getting mad at me.
No, we don't, dude. Let me tell you, we don't. But thank you for the call anyway. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. But we do have Surf Daddy, who is on the line in Ventura, California. You're on Free Talk Live. Surf Daddy.
Ian, Darryl, Mark, how you guys
Mark
doing?
is actually Conan. Conan is with us.
Oh, Conan. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Hey, my apologies.
Go ahead.
The immigration issue. I personally have some really mixed feelings about the whole issue. But I wanted to ask you guys. You guys are all in favor of the idea of secession, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, Calexit is back in the news. The idea of California seceding from the United States, and I love it. I love any kind of talk of secession. So yes.
Okay. So when a state or a country secedes from another governing entity, isn't it really redrawing the borders? And they're doing it for political reasons to get away from people that do not share their ideas and/or their culture.
Frequently, that is one of the reasons why secession happens. Although generally borders aren't redrawn; they're still there.
I'm thinking money has a lot to do with for entities breaking off from being overtaxed. That's why a lot of civil wars get started.
With Catalonia
in Spain,
right, where they're trying to break away. It's about money to where, although it's not necessarily we want lower taxes. It's we want socialism in our tiny little area, and we're tired of the rest of Spain taking our money.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's about money.
Don't you have to have borders to have different ideas? Like, in other words, if you're to have an all completely, totally voluntary society in New Hampshire, and the rest of the outlying areas of the United States don't want that, and you successfully secede peacefully, then don't you have borders to protect that voluntary society? I'm just throwing out these ideas.
Well, this is one of the fears, and this is it's a good question. It's something that's going to come up on if we actually do have secession, or when New Hampshire does secede, because there are going to be a group of people that say we need to lock down the borders, and there's going to be people like us that say, we need freedom. Let people come here. Let's be this beacon of freedom where people from around the globe
But you're going on the assumption that everybody coming in would have to share your ideas.
No, I'm not going on that assumption at all. What I was going to say was, if you don't have a state around, which is something that a lot of us would like to see happen, is the end of the idea of the nation state entirely. If you don't have a state around, then anybody can come and live their life because they can't vote themselves into power over other people.
Right,
so
and there's also the concept of polycentric civilizations, meaning many centers, to where it separates governance from geography. So, it's something that has existed in various places throughout human history. It could exist again.
And besides, if you do create a free society based on private property, which is, of course, a big, tenet of libertarianism, it's very unlikely that that's going to attract the handout mentality person. They're not going to move to a place where the welfare programs have been gutted and or gotten rid of entirely. You're more likely to attract the entrepreneur. You're more likely to attract a refugee who's appreciative of having a free place where they can actually make a life for themselves. So the more free you make a place, the smaller the government you make it, the less likely you're going to attract the very types of people that so many people are afraid that would come in and then change it back to socialism. Surf Daddy, if you want to say more, hang on. We can bring you back for this conversation. People feel strongly about this topic, and on both sides of whatever issue we're talking about here, not necessarily left or right, but control or to not control, to allow to live free. Hour 3's coming up.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. You got it?
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 1st, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.28 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,307 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $37, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,928. Antiwar.com reports unnamed Iranian officials were quoted in the Tasnim news agency denying reports Monday that an overnight Israeli attack on Syria hit Iranian bases and killed mostly Iranians. They said the claims were baseless and that no Iranians were killed at all. The Israeli attacks began Sunday night with bunker-busting missiles hitting arms depots in Hama and Aleppo provinces. The strikes destroyed some 200 missiles and killed between 16 and 26 people, according to various accounts. Those accounts all claim the majority of the slain were Iranians. This discrepancy may be because Iran and Western media have different definitions of what constitutes an Iranian. Tasnim's comments appeared to make clear that none of the slain were Iranian military advisors who were deployed in Syria. Israel claims Iran has 80,000 fighters in Syria, though, and the vast majority of them aren't really Iranians. Rather, the habit has been to portray Shiite militia members supporting the Assad government as Iranians, even though large numbers are from Iraq, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. It may be that militia members were killed in the strike. The Israeli strikes were so big and caused such an explosion that they actually registered as an earthquake of 2.6 magnitude in Hama. Israel has yet to officially comment on the attack, which is not unusual. Syrian state media accused U.S. and British missiles of being fired during the salvo from Jordan. That appears not to have been the case, however. The Israeli strike may be less about targeting anything in particular than about testing their ability to keep attacking Syria. After the U.S.-led attack on April 13th, there was growing expectation that Russia would limit everyone's ability to strike Syria, including Israel's. Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman said over the weekend that freedom of action in attacking Syria was vital to Israel and that it would be maintained at any cost. This attack may amount to Israel attacking just to see what reaction, if any, they get from Russia. Russia is in the process of delivering S-300 missiles to Syria, which will greatly enhance their air defense capabilities. In addition to testing reaction, Israel may be also hitting a site they believe will be harder to hit when the S-300s arrive. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports former Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore filed a lawsuit on Monday claiming the women who accused him of sexual assault sought to defame him as part of a political conspiracy. The suit, jointly filed with his wife Kayla Moore, names 3 women who made accusations against Moore, including Lee Korfman, Beverly Young Nelson, and Tina Johnson as defendants, as well as 2 other people. The lawsuit claims Korfman, Nelson, and Johnson were the only women to accuse Moore of improper conduct and did so with the intent of derailing his Senate campaign. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. Reuters reports Arizona school teachers vowed to continue their walkout over salaries and school funding on Tuesday as lawmakers considered a proposal advanced by the governor and legislative leaders for ending the latest in a string of statewide protests by U.S. educators. Arizona's strike has kept the vast majority of its 1.1 million school children out of classrooms since teachers walked off the job last Thursday. It follows similar walkouts by teachers in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Oklahoma that marked the first statewide U.S. teacher work stoppages since the 1990s. Thousands of red-clad Arizona teachers flocked to the state capitol in Phoenix for a third day on Monday to press the legislature for greater education spending as lawmakers opened talks on various state budget proposals. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey last week announced a deal with legislative leaders to raise teachers' pay by 20% by 2020, along with $371 million in new funding over the next 5 years for improvement in school infrastructure, new school buses, and upgrades to technology and curriculum. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Well, our own Rebecca Mera takes us on a tour of the Olympic Village.
We have a full-size bed, lounge area, showers, plenty of space, which is great because I'm constantly having sex in there.
The Village is a temporary home to the world's most physically impressive athletic men and women. It was important to the Olympic Committee to give them a comfortable, state-of-the-art area to each other's brains out while they're not competing.
We have a pool where they can have a sex, a theater where they can have a sex. All these athletes are hot, horny, ready to go. They deserve the best.
I was in Vancouver where I got eaten out by this French speed skater. I have to say, these facilities are even better, and I'm going to try to a Japanese guy.
You've spared no expense.
These athletes deserve the best. They sacrifice so much for their countries. They deserve to be able to until their and can't take it anymore.
And these facilities won't go to waste. Once the Olympics are over, they'll be converted to a resort where Russian businessmen can come to their prostitutes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free, join us on the radio, and take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. As we launch into the third hour of the program, we're hot and heavy into immigration discussion once again here.
Yeah, it's Darryl's favorite subject.
By the way, it is Ian, Conan, and Darryl in the studio with you tonight. And you can take control of the airwaves also via our Discord on-air call-in line room. That is an option for you. In fact, that's what we're going to go to here shortly. That is available on a person-to-person basis. So as soon as it's emptied out, you can hop in there and you can get on the air with us and sound almost like you're sitting in the studio here with us. You can bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. And we've been talking about earlier tonight, we talked about tipping as well. Of course, you can bring up anything. Let's go back to Surf Daddy. He's in California, in Ventura, California. And Surf Daddy, it sounded like you had something else you wanted to say, so please go ahead.
Well, as I said, I have mixed emotions about the whole subject of immigration. I've lived at what I believe is the epicenter of immigration in the greater Los Angeles area now for 50 years, and it's massive, the amount of immigration we have here. It's massive. But so on one hand, I like people, I like the diversity. I've interacted with you name it. It's in my town, where I live, and that's cool, and it's interesting, and people are interesting from everywhere, and we all have something to offer. I think my biggest hang-up, though, is the way that immigration has been used by the left. The left doesn't give a crud about these people whatsoever. They're just using them because I believe that that's why we've become such a left-wing state, is because they've been able to bring in so many people that are susceptible, if you will, to this idea of communism or socialism or whatever you want to brand it with. And I believe that's why my state has become so ultra left wing like it is now.
You believe that it's
You there?
because of immigration is one of the reasons why California is left wing?
Yeah, because they're more susceptible to that idea. In that,
But aren't a lot of Mexican immigrants folks who are kind of conservative Catholics?
The ones who work for a living, they are.
I'm one of them.
You're one of them.
Okay.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean the church itself is not leftist. Not right wing in any sense of the idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're very it leans to the left. The Hispanic vote in the state is somewhere around 75% for the left.
I mean, California is not the only place that borders Mexico. So,
Right.
I mean, how does your explanation apply to, say, Arizona or Texas?
Well, they don't have the numbers, and that's why
Numbers of what?
I just believe the numbers of people from those areas. California's been, particularly LA, has been the epicenter of the immigration inflow into this country, and I just believe they've been able to manipulate those people into the idea of socialism a lot more easily than people that have been here, like myself, for 6
So what you're saying is
generations,
California has left the bowl of milk out for the cat, so to speak. They've got for a more attractive welfare system for people that want to leech off of a system. They're more likely to attract the leeching type, whereas the not-so-leeching type might go to other states like Arizona or Texas, perhaps?
Right, and it snowballs, and it has a tendency to snowball. The more you attract, the more you get, the more you attract.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's definitely something.
So let me ask this question. Do you think that the immigrants created the welfare system that leaves out that milk bowl, so to speak, or was that created before all of them started going to California?
No, I think they don't have the same perspective, because they come from countries where the ideas of socialism were already so entrenched, like they have been in
right, but that's not the
Latin
same
America.
thing as what you said like 2 minutes ago, where you said the immigrants are creating the socialism in California. So I'm just asking, was there socialism in California before the immigrants arrived, or did they create the socialism?
Well, they voted for it. They tend to vote towards that direction, is my point.
How many immigrants can actually vote? I mean, that's what doesn't.
Only those that are legal citizens.
Yeah.
You go to the DMV. You don't have to be legal or whatnot in our state. You can get a driver's license, and they put you on the voter roll. You go to vote.
If you're not a U.S. citizen, they are not putting you on the voter roll, even if they do give you a driver's license.
Yes, they are. I've seen it for myself. I see it firsthand.
I believe that you think that happens, but that is not actually happening.
I've seen it.
Well, somebody could lie and check the U.S. citizen box on the form, right?
Right,
Darryl?
and there are a bunch of people in New Hampshire that have seen with their own eyes, and I'm using air quotes there, these busloads of people from Massachusetts, but none of them have ever even thought to pull out the chromed robot that lives in their pocket and take a picture of the bus.
You're talking about in the voting controversy.
Right,
where
so that there's claims of all of these people from Massachusetts coming and voting illegally in New Hampshire, and everybody that has said, I've seen this.
But no shred of evidence for
Do
it.
you have a
Well,
cell
no,
phone? Have you taken a picture? No, but I saw it. If you saw it, then why didn't you document it? And they have not documented it.
What's that, Surf Daddy?
I'm not lying to you. I know people firsthand. I know people. I live at the epicenter of it. I know people. I know several illegals.
I believe you think that you know people that are not citizens that vote.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it, Surf Daddy. I mean, there's certainly corrupt officials or whatever it is that they're doing to.
And it really doesn't. And like I said, I'm close with people. The people don't bother me that are coming. I just feel it's been used to manipulate the vote. The direction of politics in our state, rather than them educating them on the ideas of private property.
Well, somehow I doubt that even if there were, and I'm not saying you're supporting this because, like you said, you're seeing it from both sides. But I doubt that those people who want to kick out immigrants, who want to round them up and kick them out, I highly doubt that California's, even if tomorrow all of the so-called illegal immigrants were to all of a sudden just disappear from California, I highly doubt that it would all of a sudden become a not left-wing state. But thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. He's the one who lives there, so there you go. He's the expert in that matter. But let's talk about a real story here that I mentioned earlier. Yeah,
I pulled up Pew Research Center's results on unauthorized immigrant populations per state.
Okay.
So I don't actually have legal immigrants, and I don't even know how you would do that. But I guess they're able to figure out the percentages per state of unauthorized immigration, and California is 6% of their population.
Okay.
Texas is 5%. 6%, excuse me. Arizona is 5%.
So you're saying Surf Daddy was wrong. He was saying that
actually Nevada has 7%. So out of all of the border states, Nevada actually has.
Nevada's not even a border state.
It's,
right.
Well, it's exactly
the destination, though, apparently for them. So what you're saying is Surf Daddy was incorrect in his belief that California was the destination, primarily, overwhelmingly.
These unauthorized might actually get legal status over time, and so yes, California might have a greater percentage of
California has a larger population than Texas, so 5% in California is going to be a net larger number than 5% of Texas.
Correct.
But as far as the per capita, it's about the same.
So correct. California is 2.3 million versus Texas 1.6 million.
Syracuse.com reporting out of Rome, New York, John Collins was standing outside the milk house at his dairy farm on a morning recently when he heard yelling coming from inside. He ran in, he says, and saw his worker, Marcial de Leon Aguiar, pinned up against the window by armed men. The men did not identify themselves and were screaming at Aguiar, according to Collins. He says, I ran in and said, "What the hell's going on here?" Then the men told Collins they were officers with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He asked them for a warrant or some paperwork to explain what they were doing. They had none, he said, so he ordered them to get off his property and leave Aguiar alone. We'll tell you more about what happened, and you're going to see more stories like this in a immigration-restricted America. We're coming up.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Mother's Day sneaks up, and we hit the panic button. We get suckered into online flower giants pitching $19.99 flowers that end up costing $60. Or we grab last-minute produce department flowers that smell oddly like green onions. That tells Mom you didn't care enough to send flowers from the Bouqs. That's short for bouquets. And they're bouquing awesome. Bouqs flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Bouqs farms and delivered straight to your mom. So they last weeks, not days. Bouqs even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous, Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Bouqs cut out the middlemen, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. Show Mom how much you care. Send her artisan design flowers from the Bouqs. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter FTL. That's BOUQS.com. And remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. Bouqs.com.
I'm getting joined by Ellie Granderson. She's going to put a feminine scope on these lace kerchief starbuggers and give us her lady opinion. Ellie?
Hi, Joe.
You know, it riles me up every time you walk in here, Ellie. You set my blood to dancing with all your pillowy parts.
Oh, stop it, Joe.
Now give it to me, no famble, Ellie. When we start dusting these rocket boys' lily white bottoms with baby puff?
Joe, since the end of the Cold War, NASA has basically functioned as a giveaway to the American aerospace industry, wasting trillions of taxpayer dollars every year on extravagant programs with no tangible benefit.
Fine as a plum to look at, all the sense of a badger to boot.
Joe.
Now I've been thinking on, and I got these 3 little chickens pecking on my head while save NASA some coin. Man wants to go to space, can strap on the helmet, climb in the cannon, let the Chinese gunpowder carry him off among the stars. He'll come back now. Gonna skin a fox in one throat, and you're gonna fancy on it.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio. You can talk about whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. And also, there's the Discord on-air call-in line room. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
Bouquets. You can get some beautiful roses and all kinds of different combinations and flowers over at The Bouqs. And Bouqs is short for bouquets. Go to BOUQS.com. They've got some great flowers, and they will show them to you what the price actually is instead of constant upgrades on that. I think you do have to pay extra for shipping in the case of the Bouqs. But you go to Bouqs.com, BOUQS. You can save an extra 15% by using code FTL. And these are fancy flowers. These are ones coming from the side of a volcano in some cases. Not all of them. You can actually pick which farms and which farmers that you're purchasing the flowers from. And for those moms who care about, sustainable farming, I guess Bouqs is into that. So, they're identifying their farmers and talking about how they're helping them and the great products that they're providing. I was taking a look around their site the other night. BOUQS.com. They cut out the middlemen and allow you to get great, amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price for your mom, because Mother's Day is coming up. Don't hit the panic button. You still have time to get over to Bouqs.com. BOUQS.com. Code FTL. Get you that 15% off. So head on over there and do that as we go to Discord, the on-air call-in line room, where Otis is on the line in New York. Hello, Otis.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
Great to hear from you tonight.
What's on your mind tonight, Otis?
All right, so I got so many things to talk about ever since that last guy came on. But, the main thing I want to talk about is states succeeding. But, let me just stop for a second here. I saw you guys had a dog actually walk through before, and I think the people on the radio probably don't see that.
That's true. That's Jazzy. She's the studio
Yeah, that's
beast.
a beautiful dog.
Thanks.
I'm actually a dog person myself. I have a little dog, Buster. You guys know that, but,
Well, what kind of
Anyways.
dog do you have?
Buster's a Sheltie. He's, he looks like he just smokes pot all the time. Like, he's totally out of it, but,
Okay.
that's just the breed, I think, so
Is
don't worry
it
about
because
that.
he's getting lots of secondhand?
No, he's not getting it from me. I don't know. He goes around all the time. I don't know what's wrong with this dog. Really is out of his mind. But
Well,
that's
thank you
just
for
a
the
different
compliment.
story.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so anyways, that guy Surf Boy or whatever was on talking all kinds of trash about California. Let me tell you That guy sounds like he's never been to California before. People that can vote without being registered, the guy is smoking some kind of crack or something. That guy doesn't know what the frick he's talking about.
Well, he is in
So
Ventura
just,
County, so I mean, I believe there's I guess that's different from.
Yeah, he said he saw it.
Somewhat.
Yeah, he's telling you some stories or something. The guy is hallucinating. He's totally out of his mind.
Well, I mean, we already found out he was wrong claiming that a bunch of immigrants go to California over the other states, so that was incorrect.
Yeah, he's talking about, like, have you ever heard of New Mexico, Nevada? Like, what are we talking about? They're all in California. The guy is dreaming, okay? God bless him, though. You know what? He sounded like a nice guy, like a kind of guy you could hang out with, but, you know, just take everything he says with a grain of salt.
Thank you, Otis. We will. I appreciate that. Anything else you want to share tonight?
Yeah, anyways, I think it's good for states to succeed because if one state succeeds, we all succeed. So
Secession,
you know,
though, it's a different term. Secede is different from succeed, but sometimes it can be hard to differentiate them. But thank you.
I mean, we're doing well here in New York, and you guys are probably doing well too. So
Well, New
all
York's not doing so great, but hey, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you love freedom, you're not doing great.
Well, there is that guy in New York that is building his own exit off of the interstate.
That probably is going to get him arrested.
I don't think they're really able to do anything because it's a part of the interstate, as I understand it, that runs through like the Seneca Nation, and there's some kind of sovereignty there, and he's building it to his store.
He's a Native American
that is on the reservation, and he's
interesting.
He's got all of these, like legal papers and opinions and stuff saying he's allowed to do what he's doing.
Awesome.
And they've not stopped him yet.
Yeah, I imagine the Indian reservations are a little bit more free than some of the rest of the state.
Yeah,
would be my guess. So a little bit more here about what happened also in New York. This is Rome, New York, where farmer John Collins had an ICE raid happen at his a relatively small dairy farm. He says he ran in asking what the hell's going on as officers with Immigration and Customs Enforcement refused to show any kind of paperwork or warrant to justify what they were doing. Not that that makes it okay, but they're supposed to have things like that, apparently, or at least you would think they did. But they didn't, and they just simply claimed to be from ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as the man they were roughing up and shoving up against a window, Mr. Marcial de Leon Aguiar. He was then cuffed by the officers as his children watched as they were waiting for a nearby for a school bus to come. John Collins said the officers put Aguiar in handcuffs and took him across the rural road to their vehicles. At least 7 officers had come onto the small farm. And this report coming from Syracuse.com. Adrian Smith, spokesbureaucrat for ICE, said he was looking into the situation and would comment when he knew more. So that's Collins said he followed the officers across the street and asked them why they were taking Aguiar, but did not get a straight answer. He also continued to ask for paperwork, but was not offered any by the ICE officers. Aguiar and his wife, Virginia, are Guatemalan. Aguiar has worked for Collins for about 9 months, and he and his family live in a home on Collins' property. So this is a guy who, whatever his legal status happens to be, is welcome to work at this farm, and not only work at the farm, but also live on the farm. But that's not okay with the federal government because apparently he didn't ask somebody's permission. Collins said Aguiar had proper documentation, he said, and he's been paying taxes since working for Collins. Aguiar's wife said the couple's 4 children were not in the U.S. until recently. She was caught crossing the border illegally with the children. Collins said she's been meeting with ICE officers since she arrived and is seeking asylum for herself and the children because of violence in Guatemala. Collins said Virginia met with ICE officers as recently as last week and has another meeting scheduled for that Friday. But at times, Aguiar has accompanied his wife, who is pregnant, to some of the meetings. The farmer said he's not sure why ICE officers came for Aguiar, and he was upset that they came onto his property without any notification or permission and roughed up Aguiar in front of his 4 children. Just like police officers, ICE officers are required to provide a warrant before they go onto private property, but apparently they didn't in this case. As he continued to ask, they gave him nothing. Collins then followed the ICE officers as they took Aguiar in handcuffs to their 3 waiting vehicles. He says, quote, "I told them you can't come in here without a warrant. They can't take someone and throw them up against the wall because of the color of their skin." But they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they will do whatever they want to, and then it's up to a judge to determine whether or not they're allowed.
Well, and again, after the fact, that guy's already been put in handcuffs. He's been taken away from his family. His children have been frightened to death, by this situation. This is not a fun situation for anybody to be involved in. And imagine how traumatizing it must be for children to look on as their loving father is, taken away violently by strange men. And then, on top of that, as John Collins, the farmer, attempted to actually document this, he brought out his cell phone, tried to take photos or video with that. As he was attempting to do so, one of the ICE officers grabbed the phone and threw it into the road.
Don't record the king's men.
Well, do record the king's men. It's the best thing that you can do in these circumstances. There's a small chance that something like that will happen. Not always are they going to steal a phone. Most times they won't. But sometimes you're dealing with rogue officers. You never know what a rogue officer is going to do. But it's always better to record than not record, Conan. Every time.
Oh, yes, definitely. And by the way, so now you've got four kids and one on the way with no father to take care of them.
There's more coming up here. You can share your thoughts, whether it's immigration or tipping or whatever's on your mind here. You can take control of the airways on Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God. one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
Love as your guide.
And liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
Also, want to make sure you know about liberty.menu. That is where you can go if you're a liberty-minded individual, a person who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. You can go to liberty.menu and get your business listed there, or maybe your event that you're putting on, perhaps the digital content that you create, the things that you do and that you create that you want other libertarians to find out about. So if you want Liberty people to find out about your business, you put it up there. Or you got more than one business, you could put more than one item there at liberty.menu. It's free to use the site. So get over there and get your items up there, your map points on whatever it is that you've got to offer, whether it's your business, your digital content, and more. It's all over there at liberty.menu, and it's free. That's liberty.menu. As we continue, we'll take your calls and thoughts here. We go to David in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, David.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
I wanted to inform you of the case of Andrew Butler in New Hampshire.
Who's that?
InDepthNH.org is reporting that he's this guy who's apparently in prison without being charged with any crime because I guess there's a federal case, I guess, involving him, and I guess the lawyers filed some sort of case. He's like some sort of white-collar college student who was, I guess, he'd been experimenting with drugs. He wound up in New Hampshire hospital
as
a result of this. His dad says the medication they gave him there made him crazy, and he started hitting people, allegedly, in the hospital, and so they just dumped him into prison. But he's never been charged with any crime, to my knowledge.
Okay.
And additionally, his lawyer is claiming that both she and his dad have been denied visits.
So is he on? Is he being held on like an involuntary psychiatric commitment?
I don't know if they call it that or not. I just know that it's in one of the prisons. Probably there's only one men's prison in New Hampshire. It's probably there.
So I've pulled up a story on this, and apparently there's speculation that he might be held at the Secure Psychiatric Unit. However, that cannot be confirmed because of HIPAA and other confidentiality rules.
Oh my. So he's being held likely somewhere, but they can't say where he's being held.
Correct.
What was he doing that got him thrown in a psychiatric ward? Was he beating on people, or was he just out running around naked, or something other?
I don't know I don't know exactly what got him into New Hampshire Hospital, except that there was allegedly some sort of experimentation with drugs that went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But what got him into what reportedly got him from New Hampshire Hospital to the prison was that he was hitting people, and his dad says that this is caused by the medication because he doesn't have a history of doing that.
Right, and according to this article, the Secure Psychiatric Unit is the portion of like the state
prison or the mental hospital. Prison,
where they put those who have not committed a crime but are mentally ill. So if there's not room in a mental facility,
right, there's a facility,
and they have room in the Secure Psychiatric Unit at the prison, they put them there.
This is probably the place where they're putting the most dangerous psychiatric attendants.
Right.
What do you call them?
Again,
prison
nobody knows if he's actually there because of confidentiality rules and HIPAA.
That's scary stuff. I mean, there's definitely some issues in play here as far as somebody should be charged with something if they have committed a crime, whether they were crazy at the time or not. There still should be some charges brought.
This, to me, sounds like an involuntary commitment, and there was not room in whatever the closest mental facility was.
How long has this guy been in this situation, allegedly, Dave?
I don't know, but two things I should add. First of all, I said that there was only one men's prison in New Hampshire. That's not accurate. I think there's only one men's state prison in New Hampshire.
I believe there are two.
There are two. There's one near Concord and one up in Berlin.
Yeah. There's one female prison in the state of New Hampshire, and that also doesn't include there's a federal facility in Berlin as well. So 2 state male prisons, 1 state female prison. Go ahead.
Also, I think In-Depth NH did report where he is. I'm not sure that that's a complete mystery.
It says that they speculate that he's in that secure psychiatric unit, but that has not been confirmed.
Yeah, it's disturbing. There's no doubt that involuntary psychiatric commitment it's a system that is really it's full of holes. People fall through the cracks in that all the time, and it's tragic because a lot of those people may not have people who even care about them on the outside.
Right, and apparently he's been in since at least Friday because they mention here that there was a story published on Friday about his situation.
So he hasn't been in for that long, and if you are involuntarily committed, having been involved in a couple of these things closely myself, if you are involuntarily committed and you don't pass whatever assessment it is that they give you to see if you are still insane or as insane as you were when they committed you, they're probably not going to just let you back out onto the streets.
Correct.
So that could be what's gone on here. Was he was involuntarily committed for being crazy and on drugs, and then while he was in there, allegedly attacked some of the other mental patients. And then they said, well, we got to lock this guy up in a secure facility. We can't just have him hanging out in the day room with the other crazies. And that's, what the status is. There probably will be some sort of a court hearing. Almost always there is. I would say after a week, it will likely be scheduled this week, but that's just my guess based on prior experience. Nonetheless, it's a case to keep an eye on and to probably, bring some issues to light for people about this situation. Dave, any other comments you want to share about it?
Yeah, I've met the guy that runs New Hampshire Hospital, or at least the one that ran it 2 years ago when I met him.
The crazy hospital?
New Hampshire Hospital.
I don't know what hospital that is. Are you talking about the state-run crazy ward?
It's the state-run hospital where Butler was originally placed.
Okay.
So they're the ones that sort of allegedly dumped him on the prison. But the guy that ran the prison, or ran the state hospital, New Hampshire Hospital, he was pretty transparent. I ambush interviewed him. He answered my questions, and I asked him if I could visit the hospital, and he said yes. He said, and I could film some. If there would be some restrictions on filming.
Yep. Dave, we got to let you go. It sounds like you're in a windstorm. Thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Yeah, I forget the name of maybe it's just called the State Hospital, but there's a place in Concord where it's the crazy ward, basically, and that's where they take you if you have one of these incidents, and it's not just they're not going to just keep you in a jail for an overnight if it's the 3-day whatever involuntary commitment. Down in Florida, Conan, where you and I have spent quite a number of years, they call it the Baker Act. Every state there's different names for it in different places, so people that are outside of Florida don't know what the Baker Act is. It's just their version of the involuntary commitment statutes that, for a libertarian, this is one of those issues that is very difficult to deal with. This is one of the issues where the non-aggression principle breaks down. I mean, the non-aggression principle is a pretty good principle. It's one that we think that people should live their lives by. But when somebody's crazy,
I think it's a form of self-defense. If you have a crazy person, you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
How do you defend yourself, your family, your friends, your community from this crazy person? And so, like you say, it's a very sticky argument. And who's going to do it? Who's going to take care of this person?
The classic, it's my property, get off my property kind of line from a libertarian doesn't really apply with crazies because they don't really
know what they're doing.
Follow what you're asking them to do. You can physically remove them from your property, and unless there's a fence that, is separating them from you, they can just walk right back on the property, and
or
there's
they
nothing to
might
stop.
try, climbing over the fence,
or whatever.
In which case, they're going to possibly wind up hurting themselves because they're going to fall.
Right. So, I mean, the argument is that people are involuntarily committed because it's in their best interest, because they could go out and hurt themselves, and many times will, or hurt others.
But there's the argument: taking a kid like this and putting him into this situation,
can
his
make things
protection
worse.
Makes things worse, and that's probably why he attacked the nurses or whatever, or the day room people.
Could very
got
well
thrown
be.
into prison.
There's more coming up here in moments, but do you let these people just roam the streets? It's Free Talk Live. What do you do?
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. We got a few moments left here. Enough time for you. If you jump in now, we might be able to get you in. Our toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line. You can join there over at discord.lrn.fm and hop into the first chat room there. It's the call-in line room. We'll spot you in there, and then once we see you, we'll join the room, and you'll be on the air with us. And the us in the studio tonight is Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
Conan, you're not going to run in the marathon. But Darryl is. He's going to New York.
I'll be watching.
New York
I'll be cheering from my chair at home.
He'll be in New York City at the marathon, which is the big leagues. This is the big deal. This is the one that, in the U.S. at least, people want to go to.
It's the biggest of the marathons.
Of all of them, the whole world?
Yes.
Wow. So you're going, but you got to raise some money first to get on the team for the Innocence Project.
Yeah, so because I'm not an elite athlete that is able to qualify on speed, and I was not one of the lucky people to get a lottery spot, I reached out to the Innocence Project to see if I could be one of their charity runners, and luckily I am.
Yep.
And to secure that spot, I need to raise $3,500.
Where are you right now in that process?
Right now, officially, I'm just over $2,400.
Okay.
There has been some.
Does that include the matching?
That does not. There have been some pledged matching funds that have not come in yet.
Okay.
But once those come in, I will have met the goal.
Okay.
But I would love to try raising somewhere closer to $5,000.
Got it.
And all of the funds that get raised through run.freetalklive.com go directly to the Innocence Project.
Cool.
The platform that is set up in such a way as to where the donor winds up covering the credit card fees and whatever other processing fees there might be. So a $50 donation is actually going to cost you about $53 to cover those fees. That way it winds up making sure that the charity winds up getting every penny that's donated.
Very cool. And folks can go and help you with that over at run.freetalklive.com. It's coming up later this year, so there's still time to get in and help out. I think you could probably hit that $5,000 goal at this point. But you still need help to do it because you're not there yet. At run.freetalklive.com. We're going to continue here. We can talk more about whatever you want. But we were discussing the idea of involuntary commitment and how, as I say, this is one of the areas where libertarianism breaks down. The non-aggression principle. Even if the person who is crazy is on your property and you have a right to remove them from your property, you really don't have the right, under the idea of proportionality, to blast that person to death, right? So that would be inappropriate. I think most people would say if somebody's just standing in your front yard and refusing to leave, you don't get to just kill them because of that. The general response is that you're able to use the amount of force that's sort of concomitant with what's being used against you. So you can remove the person from the property. You can tell them not to come back. But ultimately, if they're crazy and they don't understand or whatever their crazy mind is telling them, they might come back. And as you pointed out, Darryl, they might hurt themselves while on that property. So many people will utilize involuntary commitment, including family members, including people who purportedly care about the individual in question because they're fed up. They don't know how to handle this level of crazy. It has escalated to a certain level that is beyond their professional abilities or their amateur abilities to help out. They need to call in professionals. But normally with a crazy person, you can't get a crazy person to sign themselves into a clinic. You can't get them to commit themselves.
Right, just like if there's, say, a 5-year-old that winds up getting injured in some kind of way, you might have to wind up, using force to get the 5-year-old to the hospital because they might not understand whatever it is you're trying to explain.
Yep, that's true. Now, of course, in our current society, they're generally the ward of you or they're your child or whatever.
I'm just pointing out that, there are various other people, not just quote-unquote crazy people, that are not they don't have the mental faculties to wind up understanding and consenting to things.
Yeah, but in that case, they are the ward, and so you do have control over
But
them.
in the future of, we have a voluntary society of no government, no coercive state out there, then that becomes a very similar situation to dealing with a crazy person is, because some people would say that you're not supposed to do things involuntarily to your children. Oh, if your kid wants to not brush his teeth, you can't make him, or whatever. There's a certain type of parenting that completely disagrees with any kind of parental infringement upon their children, and that's one of the areas where parents are going to disagree.
It should be called no parenting, which is probably pretty bad. Well, it's that spare the rod kind of mentality.
It's another. That's the other side of it, right? So the other side. Spare the rod is the kind of people that would beat their kids into submission. The other side of that is the so-called peaceful parents that will not do anything whatsoever to their kids as far as punishment. So those are the two complete opposites.
And they let them rot their teeth out. And then
those are baby teeth. They're going to fall out anyway.
And then they've got thousands of dollars of dental fees to take care of.
See, those are baby teeth. Those just fall out. Yeah. So by the time the real teeth come in, maybe you can explain to them why brushing is okay.
Gotta get them started young, Darryl.
I don't have any.
Not when they're 14.
I don't have any real good ansers, in this situation with the involuntarily.
What the hell 14-year-old do you know that's just now getting their adult teeth?
I'm talking about like molars and stuff. The front teeth come in like what, 6, 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't.
Right.
I didn't get my molars until I was in middle school. Yeah, middle school, I think.
I'm talking about when the baby teeth start falling out, then you explain, oh, well, these are your permanent teeth. You need to take care of them.
This is something we could talk more about. We got calls, so let's go to Will. He's in Texas. Will, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello there.
Hey, I hope all's well.
Sure.
And I'll be quick. Like I was going to call about something else, but I like what you're talking about. Like I had a family member, a very close family member who had psychotic episodes or whatever. Nothing like getting violent and wanting to murder people, but thinking he was the second coming of Christ.
Oh yeah, sure, all that.
Oh yeah. I mean, this was a guy I knew all my life, and he was convinced. But anyway, so
and many of them are still like intelligent. Right, so they're crazy and intelligent. Like they know if you're trying to trick them into doing something, right? Like they don't want to sign the voluntary commitment. They to some extent they're aware of what's going on, or you're trying to give them a drug that's going to knock them out, or whatever. They're super paranoid.
They probably don't want the pills because they can't think anymore. They can't think about being Christ.
Well, yeah. Well, and part of that. And part of that is, that I've had them tell me, like, man, it's just like I could watch somebody get killed in front of me and I wouldn't even, be affected by it, that type of thing, So the arguments were legitimate, and this guy was intelligent. Long story short, he was on his way to, I don't remember where, but let's say he was on his way to California and he got pulled over in Alabama. From Texas, I mean, And so, God,
you don't drive to California by way of Alabama unless you're making a stop in Georgia for some reason. And the only reason you would do that is if you grew up down south and if I'm going to California, I always change planes in Georgia, so I just thought I drove to Atlanta.
All right,
first.
well, what's the rest of the story? Go ahead.
Yeah, and basically his deal was he just got lost, and I think he didn't sleep, and he kind of had mania,
I'll do it.
Anyway, long story short, he got pulled over, and they probably thought he was drunk driving, and they probably quickly realized that he wasn't drunk driving. He got put in a mental institution, right? So we went and this is in Oklahoma, not Alabama. Anyway, my father and I went to go get him, and when we got there, I mean, he was so drugged up. I'd seen they had done, my brother, he had, taken antidepressant pills, and they changed his behavior and stuff. But this was like being, like, way drunk and on Xanax or something like that. It was like he could barely move, kind of,
Were you able to get him out of there?
Yeah, we did get him out and all that, but it was really upsetting, and who knows what he was saying. And I'm not saying they were all in the wrong, but it just seemed like they're like, oh, we got a crazy guy, drug the heck out of him.
Sometimes they got a drug. I mean, so like they have to administer in certain cases drugs to bring them back down. There is a possibility of administering antipsychotic medications that can actually put somebody to sleep and bring them back to reality. It happened to me once, so I know for a fact.
No, and I agree with that. I don't disagree. You know, I mean, you got to do what you got to do in the situation. But this was like a day and a half later, or or something like that. He was just still, and maybe I don't know. Anyway, it was just.
It was disturbing.
Like if we wouldn't have came, if we wouldn't have came, he might have been there for 2 more years. As far
that
as
is one of the concerns. Like I was saying before, if there's nobody on the outside for the person, if there's just like some homeless guy with no family to speak of, if they have family, they haven't seen them in years, they don't know where they are. That once that person's on the inside of that system, good luck. If you don't have anybody advocating for you on the outside, man, you are completely at the mercy of whatever state doctors we're talking about there. And unfortunately, we're out of time. Thanks, Will, for the call tonight, man. I appreciate it. If you didn't get in tonight, then apologies. Call earlier tomorrow night when Darryl will be hosting the show. And you can join us online between now and then over at freetalklive.com. And don't forget, if you like what we do here at Free Talk Live, please amp the show. It helps us out. It's only $5 a month. And you get some cool perks over at amp.freetalklive.com. ampamp.freetalklive.com. We'll see you tomorrow.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry.